This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1878, Previews. Shalom and welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Ian Levesine.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Eberly.
It's almost that time of year. Almost that time of year for 8 Crazy Nights. Begins on the 21st. And this one will more than likely be out on the 16th, so just a couple more days to buy as many socks as possible for your favorite Jewish friends. Welcome one and all to the show. Gentlemen, always fine to be back with you gents, as it is previews time yet again in this house.
Woo.
All right, and officially the last previews of 2022, as we are knee-deep in December previews for books mostly set to come out in the month of February. I fully expect Valentine's a go-go in this particular edition of previews, and I probably will not be disappointed. Well, before we do get started, as always, you fine listeners over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak are the most wonderful people this holiday season in particular to be thanking, as you give us the gift of your continued support. And we thank you so much for that continued support of the show over these many, many months that we've had the Patreon running, and just for supporting the show in general, whether it be through donations or whether it just be through spreading the word or, you know, telling a friend or leaving an iTunes review or a Spotify review or anywhere else you could possibly leave a review. We greatly appreciate it. And happy 3-year anniversary to the Comic Geek Speak supergroup. As three years ago, about sometime this week, we first launched that. And that is very much a great way for you to spread your cheer and spread your love of comics in one way or the other. So we thank you so much for any way you decide to be a part of the show. You are awesome. Patreon.com/comicgeek.
Thank you.
Speak. Indeed. My personal one, by the way, patreon.com/comic-timing for anybody who wants to throw a buck my way, or, of course, comicgeekspeak.com/donate.php for anybody who wants the old school way of donating to CGS. All right. And with all that spiel out of the way, it's previews time. Welcome to Farmington, ladies and gentlemen. We'll find out more about that later on in the catalog. But Tim Seeley is back in style. All right. Now, we've started getting some Free Comic Book Day stuff here. And a reminder that Free Comic Book Day will be May 6th, 2023. Mark that on your calendar. We know it's still a few months away, but the ordering has begun on what you can expect there. And we will have the full listing of free comics available to you probably by next month's previews. As that's usually around the time that they start getting full listings in there for free comics for May. But do not forget that date. As usual, it will also be Marvel comic movie weekend. And which one comes out in May this year? I'm trying to remember.
Is it Guardians?
I think it is Guardians. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Adam Warlock.
Indeed. Yep. We do have some free comics mentioned already as gold sponsors. With Aftershock is bringing Seismic Stories, free comic book special, to your hands, along with Archie and their Cursed Library, free comic book day special. Ranger Academy for the Power Rangers friends out there. And what I'm definitely looking forward to is a new Umbrella Academy and The Witcher special out of Dark Horse. Get some more Umbrella Academy action in there. Red Sonja with Dynamite, Star Trek over at IDW, Image has Fish Flies, and a Amazing Spider-Man Venom special out of Marvel, along with an Avengers X-Men special.
So are they not camouflaging the Marvel offerings this year, so we know what they are actually going to be?
I don't think they are. However, this is the most important thing here. A preview of Jonathan Hickman and Valerio Schiti's upcoming mystery project in the Avengers X-Men special this year. So he's not quite done with X-Men yet, or he's not quite done with Avengers yet. Either way, we get more Hickman over at Marvel, and we finally get that secret project he's been working on for a while
Sounds
now.
good to me.
Yep, definitely. And let's see.
Conan the Barbarian from Titan.
Yes, indeed. Jim Zub writing Conan the Barbarian as well. That's all here on page 34. Now, I may as well mention this now as we're talking about Free Comic Book Day stuff. There is a silver sponsor, Action Lab Entertainment book for Princeless that is solicited here on page 35. And a note that, I mean, I've said on the podcast before that Action Lab, at least in its current state, was something to kind of avoid as they have not been treating their creators very well. This book itself was not actually passed through the creators before even being solicited here for a Free Comic Book Day. They're talking about how it's going to start off volume 10 of Princeless. There's only one issue of Princeless completed, as Jeremy Whitley and Emily Martin are trying to get the rights back to their books and away from Action Lab. And Action Lab went and did this as pretty much their only solicitation in Diamond for a Free Comic Book Day. So those of you who are fans of Princeless may not want to order this, quite frankly, because it's not exactly being done under good intentions. And I hate saying...
Is this just a copyright maneuver, or...?
This is more than likely a copyright maneuver. If not, then simply just going against the wishes of the of the parties involved and trying to make it seem like something is on its way when, quite frankly, it is not. But nevertheless, for now, I'd say avoid Princeless number 1. I don't think anything's really going to change on that front. But if you're looking for more, this would probably be the only more that you're ever going to get in this current form. So just bringing that to the note of listeners for anybody who hasn't been following that saga. There's been a press release out there by Jeremy Whitley as well on multiple websites. If you want to go to The Beat, they have a full article on it. So just read up on that, and that'll be that with that. In much happier news, Fantagraphics has their Furry Freak Brothers special coming out. Gemstone has a Overstreet Guide to Collecting Comics special. I always kind of dig those.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Good way to get people in the door. And Babysitter's Little Sister, Karen's Haircut by Ann Martin and Katie Farina for the younger crowd. But my favorite here, Eric Burnham, working on a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles free comic book special. That is a great writer to have behind TMNT. And page 37, he is there for it. And directly next to that, Rick Remender's new Sacrificers book out of Image. Tons of good free comic book day stuff to choose from this time around, gents. So happy to see it thriving and surviving, coming soon in May of this upcoming year. All right, over to Image, page 48, Local Man, Tim Seeley and Tony Fleecs. I am looking forward to this one.
Well, they had me with combines rural crime noir and superhero action.
Oh, absolutely. Two of your favorite things right there.
Yep. Absolutely.
For fans of Crossover and Invincible, they get me with that part also, because it's an interesting premise. Star recruit of a media sensation super team 3rd Gen, Jack Xavier had it all. I love that name. When controversy sends Cross Jack crawling back to his mom and dad's basement in the Midwest, Jack struggles to fit into a world he left far behind. Then the bodies start piling up.
I like how the artwork has that 90s sheen to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Ooh, on page 49.
Yep. Straight Liefeld action there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yep. This disgraced 90s early image has been meets the whole rural crime dimension of it. I always like to see superhero comics in a rural setting for any reason.
Yep.
So it's got that going for it, and I also like the whole ex-90s character thing.
I appreciate how many X's they put onto his costume just to like drive home how 90s it is, because there was nothing quite like the X-Men uniforms of the day with as many X's as they could possibly fit in there, whether it be pouches or belts or cross belts for no reason. Like, yeah, you want an X? We'll give you an X. Good times. Moving further down here to page 52. Torrent number 1, Mark Guggenheim and Justin Greenwood, bringing us a story perfect for fans of Radiant Black and Mother of Madness. It's all about tragedy which forces Michelle Metcalf to face her to cross the line from hero to vigilante. Interesting premise, interesting concept, gorgeous artwork on the next couple of pages here. Kind of like going from Captain America to Punisher, basically. Not too shabby.
Yikes.
Yep. Everyone best stay out of my goddamn way.
The superhero isn't a hero.
Alrighty.
Somebody give her a cigar to chump.
Yeah, right? Next set of pages here, page 56. Edward LaRoche, miniseries premiere of Almighty, 5-issue miniseries. Writing and drawing this one. Mad Max Fury Road. They said Max Fury Road, and it completely tripped me up. So clearly somebody didn't do some proofreading here. But it's a Mad Max Fury Road style action, which combines with the mutated horror of annihilation in this original sci-fi / fantasy epic for mature readers. I love both of those things, so yeah, this will be something else. But Annihilation is some heavy stuff, so this I may have to be in the right mood to read this comic.
This looks very interesting. Blood Tree.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Tomasi writing art. Maxim Simic. It's a crime story. A killer called the Angel Killer who preys on the innocent family members of known murders in order to, quote, purify the rest of society.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy the writer, so I'm going to give this a shot.
Yeah. Wonder if it's kind of going to be like almost like a Spectre type thing.
Mm.
Yeah, the artwork is I'm not familiar with Maxim Simic, but
I like it.
Yeah, almost Michael Avon Oming in its execution.
Yeah, he was the artist on Powers?
Yes, Michael Avon Oming was artist on Powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yep, that's what I was thinking of too. I just didn't know what name to put to it.
I was thinking a little bit of little Cameron Stewart maybe in there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, it's on sale February 1st, and that was on page 60. And Brian Haberlin, The Last Barbarians, described as Rat Queens meets Sonata in this high fantasy adventure. It's always nice to see new Brian Haberlin artwork in any form. And this one here, a fantastic world full of giants, magic, and flying fish. You get me with that description, and then boy, oh boy, that artwork.
Yeah, that artwork is amazing.
Oof. Lovingly rendered stuff. Like I think of like Castle Grayskull there.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So good Haberlin action on page 64, and then the following pages. Commenting also on Image's design for the previews here, it's a little bit better this month. It's still not great, but it's a little bit better. It's a little more tame this month than it was the month before.
Yeah, you were not happy last month, honey.
No, I was not.
Neither was I. Yep, I agree, and it's a bit more legible this time around.
Yeah. Yep. Still wish they wouldn't put the cover in the background like that and just would have a plain background to read, but
yeah,
it's at least a little bit better this time around. Monarch by Rodney Barnes on page 68. It's a new tale of terror and high-stakes sci-fi, which hits close to home, described as Independence Day in this action-packed alien invasion story. Philadelphia meets Independence Day. And Philadelphia is, one of those books that Murd has mentioned in the past, and I'd sure
also
do
written
like
by Rodney Barnes, so why not?
Exactly. Yep.
I don't need to revisit Independence Day though.
What, you don't want to Welcome to Earth?
No.
No? Okay. You don't want a computer virus to take down an entire alien army?
That's a 1996 computer virus at that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's okay, though. You can do anything if you type hard enough. That's... cool premise here. Very selective coloring on the artwork, too. Uses whites well to go well with the reds he's using. So, could be pretty cool. And what say we on Scurry on page 72? We got cats, we got mice. What more do you need? This was a webcomic originally, and was a Kickstarter, and now here it is at Image, being published in full.
Sounds like a mice version of Watership Down. Well, actually, now that I look at, they mentioned Watership Down in the copy there.
Indeed. Yep. This is out of Skybound Comet through Image. It's page 72, and then some artwork on the corresponding pages. This would make a hell of an animated
series. Beautiful. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Or just an animated movie in general. And the trade collection, which I will probably be picking up, of Do a Powerbomb. I've been waiting for this to come out. Daniel Warren Johnson's wrestling superhero epic. Like, come on, literally written for me on page 77. Nice to see that all collected here. It comes out on March 1st, so this is an advanced solicitation, but this collects the first 7 issues of that series. All right. Here we are with The Good Asian, 1936.
So they collect the whole arc in one, no doubt, beautifully bound hardcover.
Yep.
They got the proud Eisner sigil on there, well deserved. I've talked before about this. This is a wonderful crime noir in the Chinatown, 1936 in San Francisco. Edison Hark, that's a character to watch. I hope they return to him. Fantastic detective character.
10 issues all in one hardcover here on page 79. Not that expensive for 10 issues, too.
No, it isn't. You're right.
Yeah.
This is highest recommendation.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Tom King's Love Everlasting.
I've only read the first issue, loved it, no pun intended, so I have the rest on my pod, I just haven't gotten there yet, but definitely, it's Tom King doing a romance comic, so it's not what you think and not what you expect.
Oh, yeah. Certainly.
Yes, it's kind of a deconstruction of the romance genre as horror story.
Yep.
About a woman named Joan who finds herself trapped in an endless, infinite cycle of tear-jerking, pot-boiling, like mid-20th century romance comic stories. And every time she gets the guy of her dreams, she ends up thrust into a different reality where she's chasing a different guy and faces a new series of heartbreak. And eventually she just has enough of it and tries to break free of the cycle.
Kind of quantum love leap.
And just look at the cover here. She's wearing a blood-soaked wedding dress, holding a shotgun and saying, "Hello, my name is Joan Peterson, and I probably love you."
Yeah, I'm going to have to check this out. And of course, what better book to come out around the time of Valentine's Day than a book with violence and love? That's just what the doctor ordered right there. Page 81 has the collection of Sins of the Black Flamingo by Andrew Wheeler. Occult, Noir, and Miami Sleaze. Oh. Once again, what more can you ask for there?
Can't think of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Robin Hood-like story of a thief who steals from the rich because the poor have nothing worth taking.
Very excited for this. The next solicitation. They reprinted the entire Astro City saga in these Metro books. I picked up volumes 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. This is 496 pages for $35. It's the what's it called? The Dark
Age.
Dark Age. Thanks, Murd. Which is a story I actually never finished. For whatever reason, this one kind of fell off after this. I'm really looking forward to getting this.
It's because of Music's health problems. It was delayed pretty badly. I think a lot of people fell off of it because it came out so infrequently. But now's a chance to read the whole thing all in one sitting.
I'm going to savor it. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. That's right there on page 82. And then Stillwater, directly underneath that, volume 3 of Zdarsky's Stillwater. Do I remember correctly that Stillwater just recently came to a conclusion, or
this is going to collect the final chapters? Yep.
Well, there you go. Yep.
Great book.
Yep.
Great book.
Page 83 for that one, and right underneath that, Undiscovered Country, volume 4 by Snyder and Soule. All right. Anything else in Image, gents?
Just that there's a saga, and I'm deeply excited about that.
I do point out on page 86 the Art Brute issue 3 cover is amazing.
It sure is.
The take on the Campbell's soup can, beautiful. And yes, indeed, Saga does return and continue to return, and looking forward to reading more of that.
It's page 99, issue 62.
Mm-hmm. All right, onward to Boom. Let's start off on page 106 with Harrower. And that is going to be a mouthful every time I say it. Harrower. Not harrower. Harrower.
Let Murd do it.
Murd?
Harrower.
Thank you.
See that?
Thank
Beautiful.
you, Murd.
Sonorous.
So somebody who doesn't have a mush for mouth saying it. Yeah. Thank you very much. Brand new horror series from the writers of Strange Talent of Luther Strode and Spread. That would, of course, be Justin Jordan and Bram Revel. There's nothing to fear in the quaint town of Barlow, New York, except, that is, the word I'm not saying again. The children wish this boogeyman was just an urban legend, but this purveyor of puritanical vengeance against the unrighteous is very real, and there's no escape, because the Harrower seems unkillable and spans generations, always returning. Get some it vibes with this one. Only a lot less creepy clown and more hobgoblin from the looks of it. Interesting horror concept there on page 106, and I'm gonna have nightmares. Just looking at that.
Yeah, they're calling it a deconstruction of the slasher genre.
Okay,
sure, bring it on.
Yeah, why not? Oh wow, yeah, look at that character design there. Oof, man, yeesh, damn teeth. Moving forward. Stuff of Nightmares on page 114. Issues 1 through 4 of Stuff of Nightmares by the one and only R.L. Stein. Illustrated by A.L. Kaplan. All collected here. This is a advanced solicit. This is not coming out until April. So do keep that in mind, that if you do order this, you're not going to see it for a while. But all 4 issues of the beginning of Stuff of Nightmares here for you on page 114. Great cover.
Oh yeah,
creepy.
Oh, who did that cover?
That cover is by
Francesco
of course. Yeah, Francavilla.
Okay, yep, there you go.
Yeah, enough said. Anything Francesco Francavilla is going to be gorgeous.
Yep.
Even if it's creepy as hell. Alrighty. A whole lot of ongoings happening in Boom this month, so there's not a lot of things to necessarily point out. Getting over to the hardcovers and softcovers, page 125. We Only Find Them When They're Dead, volume 3 by the one and only Al Ewing, with Simone De Mayo. Issues 11 through 15 of this series collected. Once again on page 125. So if you're waiting on that one, that's there for you now. And on page 126, especially with the passing of Jason David Frank, I need to point out Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 105, as this one clearly is going to feature the Green Ranger in some capacity. And the Power Rangers had a huge mark on my childhood. Was a major fan of the early series there, and tragic loss with Jason David Frank. He's going to be very much missed. So if you're a Power Rangers fan, go back and read the stuff that's been coming out from Boom. It's all been great. It led to a video game. It's led to a bunch of other return to prominence for these characters. And the 105th issue of such is out on page 126. And then, of course, we get more Power Rangers Ninja Turtles action on page 128. And I swear, if we do not get the Ninja Turtles in Power Rangers costumes at some point during this, then that is just a missed opportunity. I'm sure they'll make it happen. All right, I think that's about it for Boom. So let's head over to Dark Horse. And speaking of Mr. Avon Oming,
there he is.
Page 138. Yep.
This is an interesting concept.
It is, yeah. James Tiny in the Fourth and Michael Avon Oming.
And Klaus Janson doing
Indeed.
artwork too.
Yep.
On maybe one of the covers.
Yeah. No, it looks like they're just doing split duty from the looks of it. Huh. Oh, you know what? Actually, no. I think Avon Oming just did the covers, and it's Klaus Janson on the artwork.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Even better. Tinian presents what he calls his true weird stories, tales of ordinary people encountering the strange and the impossible. And it does say that he's teaming with Avon Oming, so it must be split art chores.
Jansen is doing the other story. It says at the bottom, True Weird Coney Island.
Excellent. There we go. Oh, and come on, True Weird Coney Island. You got me there, baby. That's it. They retell some of the most popular UFO and alien encounter accounts, starting with the infamous Betty and Barney Hill abduction, the widely publicized and very first abduction that went on to shape and influence all future encounter stories. And that does remind me we need to get you to Coney Island, sir. We will make this happen.
Yep.
Page
gaping hole in my Americana experience.
Absolutely. Get some Nathan's hot dogs and fries in there.
Man.
Yep.
I want to start singing the Star Spangled Banner. God.
No. We're celebrating Valentine's Day with this previews, not July 4th.
But you brought up Nathan's hot dogs in Coney Island.
Yep. What were you to say, Murd?
Another fun and disturbing concept on page 142, right where we're lingering here. Mm-hmm. This one from writer Kyle Starks of I Hate This Place, and I think some of the Rick and Morty comics too, with art by Pyotr Kowalski. It's called Where Monsters Lie. It's a 4-issue miniseries about an exclusive gated community where the masked freaks and lunatics that serve as antagonists of slasher films hang out and just kind of live and spend their time in between killing sprees. So it's another deconstruction of the slasher genre. It's got shades of the Cabin in the Woods, mm-hmm. and it looks like good, disturbing fun if you're a fan of horror genres, films like Saw or Halloween or Friday the 13th and so on and so forth. You'll recognize some familiar archetypes among the cast of this series.
I immediately think of the Serial Convention from Sandman with this concept here, kind of like that meets League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, only killers.
And of course, they have to use analogs instead of the actual characters of which they're based. But you'll get the idea.
Yeah. 4-issue miniseries on page 144. Tim Seeley, seeing his name once again here. Along with Sergio Aragonés on the cover.
Wow. And some of the interiors,
and some of the interior, you're right, yeah.
Yeah, this is Masters of the Universe Masterverse, and it is kind of a multiverse project. Mm-hmm. So He-Man is going to meet some alternate reality versions of himself drawn by a variety of art teams. So we've got Eddie Nunez doing the majority of the art, but there is going to be a sequence drawn by Sergio and another drawn by Kelly Jones, as seen in the sample page here on page 145.
Yeah, wow.
Whew. Wow, indeed.
Oh my God. Yeah, this is awesome. Reminiscent of one of my favorite, often forgotten movies that came out. What I affectionately call Crisis on Infinite Turtles, which is Turtles Forever. The meeting of the 80s Turtles and the 2000s Turtles at the time. So this looks like it's going to be similar to that, only with Masters of the Universe. And yeah, this could be fun.
Yep, I just recently acquired the one issue of the He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse miniseries that DC put out a few years ago, which I think Seeley might also have written.
Nice.
It's kind of interesting synchronicity here that this is solicited just now.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Kelly Jones. I mean, I used to have Web Store's action figure. He was never that genuinely scary.
Well, when Kelly Jones draws anything, the answer is scary.
To be sure.
Yep. And also, Kelly Jones put the pointiest ears on Batman out of anybody.
Oh, of course.
Full-fledged Impala antlers, those things.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Moving over to page 148. Space Job. 4-issue mini by David A. Goodman with Alvora Saracessa on the artwork chores. After 5 long years of soul-crushing servitude as a chef's assistant, Danny Sheridan is getting his dream job in space as first officer above the SS George H.W. Bush.
That's foreboding.
Yeah, I know, right? But on his first day, he finds himself crashing back to reality. Nothing seems right. The crew is subpar. Something's going on. And First Officer Danny Sheridan is going to get to the bottom of it or die.
Wow, he went from chef's assistant to first officer. That's quite a jump in rank.
Yeah. I wonder why he's realizing that everything is subpar. Perhaps things are a little bit off here. I'll check this out. This sounds like a cool concept, and especially since I've been very Star Trek and Orville lately, this looks like it's going to be right up my alley. Page 148. Richard Corbin on 149 gives us Murky World.
Great artist.
Yep. Richard Corbin Library comes to Dark Horse. First in a series of deluxe graphic novels to be published by Dark Horse, Special Edition collects the entire Murky World series in print for the first time and also features never-before-seen sketch material. The Dark Horse presents one shot and a foreword by the one and only Mike Mignola, all presented in a gorgeous hardcover with a dust jacket on 149.
I noticed on page 155, Quick Stops number 4. I picked up issues 1 and 2 and read them. You have the new Kevin Smith miniseries based in the world of Clerks. But what I find amusing in the copy is that they're going to introduce Dante's identical cousins we all saw in the movies. So Gil Hicks from Mallrats, Jim Hicks from Chasing Amy, and Grant Hicks from Dogma.
I love it. That's fantastic. I've still yet to watch Clerks 3, by the way. It's on my list, so I will get there sooner than later. Yep.
It's not what you expect.
I can imagine. Yep. Concluding The Ones by Brian Michael Bendis, issue 404 on page 156. And we also get Bendis' Fortune and Glory collected in trade paperback on that very same page. And 157, The Final Girls. When the world's most powerful working hero asks his retired peers for help, they secretly agree to deal out punishment on another hero in the public eye. But when the weapon of publicity is wielded, it threatens to kick up all of the personal traumas of the heroes, past and present. This was a digital series that's being collected here for the first time by Kara Ellison and Sally Cantorino on page 157. Cool concept, cool artwork, and has the name of a often overlooked movie that I have that I've seen that has no relation to it, called Final Girls, where people are trapped in a horror movie and they have to try to get themselves out and be the last girl standing.
Page 160, Grendel Omnibus Volume 4 reprints a series of Grendel stories I especially revere. The classic War Child, which is when Matt Wagner returned to the world of Grendel, but into the future, and introduced the Grendel Prime cyborg.
Nice.
And then you have the Past Prime novel written by Rucka, with pen and ink illustrations by Wagner, which is great. And then I think the more recent Devil Quest, with Prime searching through. I think he's going through space, I want to say. Great stuff. Though I'm definitely going to pick this up because my original War Child was destroyed in the flood I endured the fall of last year. So looking forward to grabbing that.
Very cool.
If you love things like Mad Max, Grendel Warchild is right up your alley.
Nice. Page 162, Dead Mall concludes. The surreal reality of the mall continues to morph as the survivors struggle to escape.
Well, malls are dying.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth?
And they're taking their patrons with them.
Page 162. I just watched an American Dad episode all about a dead mall. it was a pretty good episode.
Page 163, reprinting one of the classic Warren titles, Creepy Archives Volume 1. Look at the roll call of glory in terms of the creators. Remember, Warren was, the great black and white horror mags of the 1960s, 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his pay rates were notoriously lower, but a lot of great creators went through that. So look at this roll call. Archie Goodwin, Larry Ivy, Otto Binder, Frank Frazetta, Alex Toth, Al Williamson, Reed Crandall, Gray Morrow, Angelo Torres. Whew. So if you love horror and you want to get in on the ground floor of some of the most important horror comics, it's a good archive to get.
The Legend of Korra, Ruins of the Empire Omnibus Edition on page 165. Anybody who is looking for a continuation of Korra, this collects a whole bunch of the comics that were being put out after the fact. And we will be returning to the world of Avatar: The Last Airbender soon in I believe animated movies that are set to be coming out in the not too distant future. So looking forward to returning to that world on the screen soon. But if you want to,
they don't involve M. Night Shyamalan, do they?
Hell no.
Good.
No.
Okay.
And this is going to be animated stuff. There's also a live action series being worked on by Netflix that's going to be coming out soon. Once again, nothing to do with M. Night Shyamalan. I
was talking to Ryan. We went to Pittsburgh this past week, and we were chatting. And I don't know how Shyamalan came up, but Lady in the Water is one of the weirdest 2 hours of my life. And I've never cried so hard out of just sheer astonishment. So
funny enough, I've never been more bored in my life than watching The Village. The Village, one of the worst turns in a movie I've seen in quite some time. I may have to rewatch it because this was years and years and years ago. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. But I thought
The Village. I mean, I haven't seen it in many years, but I remember The Village didn't strike me as badly as Lady in the Water did. I mean, again, we have to recount that.
Yeah.
Shyamalan puts himself in, like Hitchcock. He puts himself in his movies, which more power to him. But in Lady in the Water, his character is a writer whose work will change the world without irony or tongue in cheek. Nothing more needs to be said.
Oh yeah, clearly. Well, when we got to the reveal in The Village, I won't give it away for anybody who hasn't seen it, but I was just like, really, that's it? Really? That's what we did? That's what we did? Really? Anyway.
God, he's so jaded, ladies and gentlemen. But look who's not jaded. Look at that beautiful Superman cover, that smile.
Beautiful.
Yep. And he's leading off the DC Connect catalog this month instead of just page after page of Batman, Batman, Batman. I'm glad to see the Superman family take their turn.
Yes. And a 2-page spread layout for this PDF. So I'm going to have to try to focus on the left-hand side here. Joshua Williamson and Jamal Campbell. You wanted a book called Superman, Murd, and you got a book called Superman.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we still got Superman, Son of Kal-El, and I'm glad we do. Mm-hmm. But we should also have a second book for Kal-El himself, and now we do, and that's great.
Absolutely. Yep. It's the dawn of DC, they're calling it. As Superman returns to Metropolis and his greatest enemy, Lex Luthor, is finally behind bars. He goes back and forth like nobody's business, but now he's behind bars. Future of the Superman family has never been brighter, and as Clark Kent settles back into his life, iconic and new enemies erupt from the shadows to strike down the Man of Steel. Waiting in the wings to back up Big Blue is Super Corps? What secret project has Lex given to Superman? A hero is only as good as their villains.
Look at that Jimenez variant cover. Wow.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. The Dragotta, for that matter.
Yeah, that's a great one, too.
Yeah. Every one of these is outrageously good.
Does sound like this team intends to explore Superman's rogues gallery a bit, and I'm all for that always.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Action Comics 1052 on page 5 here. Awesome cover with the blending of the blues and the reds like that.
Yep.
Stunning. Philip Kennedy Johnson, Dan Jurgens, and Leah Williams, together with Rafa Sandoval, Lee Weeks. Lee Weeks, ladies and gentlemen.
Lee Weeks.
Indeed. And Marguerite Savage as Metallo attacks. Love me some Metallo.
Me too.
I will look forward to reading this a month after it comes out. Thank you, DC Infinite. And more Tim Seeley as we get Lazarus Planet. First, on the left page, page 6, Lazarus Planet Next Evolution. Then page 7, Lazarus Planet Dark Fate. As this whole Lazarus Planet thing comes down.
And page 8, Lazarus Planet Omega.
Lazarus Planet Omega featuring Mark Waid and Jean Lin Yang together on a book. I am all for that. Great cover in the rain here also. Almost reminiscent of Final Night.
Good callback.
Yeah. Page 8. That's the devil Nisa and his son are at war with all of humanity caught in the middle. And that is what Lazarus Planet's main focal point is going to be. As Batman v Robin concludes on the next set of pages here, page 10. And 132, Zdarsky brings Catwoman into the mix.
Yes.
Page 11. Meow.
And there's a backup story featuring Tim Drake teaming up with John Kent.
I'm for that. I'm for that. Yeah.
Yep. And they're fighting an overpowered toy man. I'm for that.
Oh, Murd. There you go. Overpowered toy man.
And my favorite, will Metropolis's newest Superman, John Kent, be able to help the Boy Wonder with this multiversal mystery? Or will they both run afoul? I mean, they're just laying it on here. Like, more and more reason for us to be interested in this issue. Great stuff.
That's good targeted marketing for the CGS crew.
Yes, it is. And Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo, Silvestri's opus, continuing on page 12, issue 4 of that. And on the very next page, issue 3 of the Riddler Year 1, written by Paul Dano. And I loved the Fablemans, by the way. Talking about him. The Fablemans is... I was worried, pardon my French, I was worried it would be masturbatory, like, just Spielberg doing a movie about Spielberg, but the names have been changed.
He's too great a storyteller to succumb to that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's moving. It's a moving film.
It really is. Yeah. And it captures film, like just the love of film, like very few other films have managed to. Also, if you're a fan of Paul, a fan that is of Paul Dano, he was just on Hot Ones that released today as we're recording this, and he did a great job. I like him even more after that interview. Watching him eat hot wings.
Oh, look at that Nightwing cover.
Oh yeah.
We back up for a second here to page 14.
Yeah, sure.
There we go. It's the latest in the series of Batman One Bad Day one-shots, spotlighting different members of Batman's Rogues Gallery. And this time we've got Clayface, a version of Clayface. It's maybe appropriate for a protean figure like Clayface, but it seems like he's a different character every time he appears someplace. This time we've got the writing team of Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, who impressed us so much with their Kang the Conqueror miniseries. And we're currently writing one of the 2 ongoing Captain America series. With art by Germanico, and it's a one-shot, 64 pages in length, about actor Basil Carlo and the bad day he has when he tries to take his show on the road to Hollywood.
Basil Carlo. Oh.
Yep. The name kind of it reflects his early 40s origins.
And when one step away from Boris Karloff,
he was still kind of a bankable horror figure in those days.
Nice.
Yep, so he Mr. Carlo discovers that Gotham is not the only town without pity in the DC universe. L.A. is pretty tough, too.
I continue to say, once they have all these One Bad Day one-shots in one collection...
Oh, there'll be a hardcover.
Oh, yeah. I need that. I need that very badly.
He needs it.
I do. I need it on my shelf. But, yeah. Clayface is one of my favorites and always will be. So this is This is excellent. A new Titans era begins on page 16. As you said, the Redondo continues to be amazing with that cover.
He's doing which one is his now? Actually, these are all variant covers they're showing us.
Oh, you're right, actually.
Well, that Campbell variant is gorgeous.
Yeah, that is very gorgeous. Yeah. Jamal Campbell on that one. There's also a Travis Moore and a Eduardo Panissa. Backup artwork by Eduardo Panissa. So the other cover would be by Redondo, but they don't have that.
All that matters is Tom Taylor's still the scripter.
Yes, indeed. Travis Moore doing the main artwork on this particular issue. But this is post Dark Crisis, as Nightwing gathers a group of friends to be the premier league in the DC universe. Meet the new Titans.
And meanwhile, Nightwing, John Kent teams up with another Robin. He's going to be on hand to be mentored by Dick.
Ah, yes. Man, John Kent is just collecting Robins at this point. Best friends with Damian, hanging out with Tim, getting mentored by Dick. Like, yeah, what's he going to do with Jason Todd? We'll just have to find out.
Probably get into a bar fight.
That sounds about right, yeah. Page 19 has the first volume of Batman Volume 1 Failsafe.
Which is excellent.
Yep.
Excellent.
Zdarsky and Jimenez right there. And that was the cover to choose, because that cover is just fantastic. Collects issues 125 through 130 of Batman. Once again on page 19. And the deluxe edition of Batman Spawn, released on page 20, with Todd McFarlane, Frank Miller, Doug Munch, Chuck Dixon, and Alan Grant, together with Greg Capullo, Todd McFarlane, Klaus Janson. I mean, what else do you need to say?
Who can forget those 1994 stories?
Yep, indeed. New Static series on page 22. Loving the artwork.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful.
Really, really nice artwork there. Nicholas Draper Ivey on the art chores and the writing, along with Vita Ayala. Static Shadows of Dakota. Beginning a new chapter for Static.
And on page 24, we've got the Flash number 123, Flash of Two Worlds homage there for the Milestone 30th anniversary special.
Yes.
And that's not just a fan bait cover. There's something like that actually does happen in this issue. One of several stories in this 96-page one-shot. It does involve present-day Milestone characters meeting their 1993 equivalents.
Nice. Well, I have yet to finish Dark Crisis. I may very well do so tonight, but I know that there's a special that Mark Waid put out that the multiverse fans will be clamoring for, as we basically get a list of the universes. And one of them on there is essentially 90s Milestone universe. So we know that it is out there, and with the current state of the DC universe, more things like this can happen. So cool to see that going down on page 24. And then right next to that, Reginald Hudlin and Leon Chills give us Icon versus Hardware on page 25.
Haven't announced an artist for it yet, which is peculiar.
Yeah, that is a little interesting. Shazam! Fury of the Gods special. Shazamily Matters. Oh, God.
I've heard worse.
I know.
We've made worse puns than that.
Oh, I've made worse puns than that. Definitely.
You breathe worse puns than that.
That is very true. You are absolutely right. Page 26. Zach Levy actually gets in on the writing game on this one, along with Grace Caroline Curry, Ross Butler, and tons of others. Adam Brody also involved in that. Artwork by the one and only Freddie E. Williams and Andrew Drelone, and alternate main cover by Jim Lee and Scott Williams, and variants out the wazoo, including that photo variant that we see there.
When is that movie coming out?
I believe, let me get an actual release date. I know it's pretty sure it's close to mid-year, but let me take a look at that real quick. I
enjoyed the first one.
March 17th, 2023.
All right, March 17th.
Yep. And we sure as heck are going to have a lot of DC movie talk to have on our next comic talk, because boy, oh boy, have things been a-changing.
Well, that's what they brought Gunn in to do, I guess. And he's, for better or worse, he's doing it.
Yep. Yes, indeed. I am hoping, though, that Shazam does remain one of the quote-unquote survivors of this quote-unquote culling that's going to be happening. But we shall see. Either way, Fear of the Gods is still coming out, and I'm looking forward to it. And this 96-page giant features stories starring all your favorite characters as written by the actors who play them. Cool concept for a special there. Jeff Lemire and Doug Mahnke continue their Swamp Thing Green Hill.
Green Hell.
Yes. Green Hell. Issue 2 of that. What a team. And then on the a collectible hardcover of Sandman Universe Nightmare Country, Volume 1 on page 29. That's by James Tinian and Alessandro Esterin. Let's see what else we got. A box set of The Flash Fastest Man Alive. So you can read that along with the Batman 1989 movie adaptation.
That's for you, Shane.
Yep. Page 32 for those. Dennis O'Neil and Jerry Ordway back in print.
So, Ian, since I'm always at us, ask a quick question.
Yes.
Just you can give me a simple answer.
Yep.
Is the Flash movie still coming out?
The Flash movie is still coming out, yes.
Okay.
At this point, it may very well be the last appearances we see of these characters. And we don't know whether that's going to happen, but with the way James Gunn is going about things, we're looking at least a soft reboot, if not a hard reboot, of the entire DC universe. So
gotcha.
We shall see.
Murd, check out page 34. Nice facsimile there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All looks like ads and all here. Mm-hmm. But of course, I already have my Millennium Edition. So
Wiz Comics number 2.
Yep. Well, any of you who do not, only $7 for 64 pages of Shazam action.
I love facsimile editions.
Back when it was still Captain Marvel.
In some of our minds, those days have not yet gone.
But of course.
Headcanon is a wonderful thing. And right below that, an interesting, I think this was probably in Elseworlds when it was first published, but yes. Batman, The Doom That Came to Gotham, written by Mike Mignola and Richard Pace, with art by Troy Nixie and Dennis Janka. And it's collecting a 3-issue miniseries set in 1928, in a world in which Batman first became Batman in 1908.
That's awesome.
It's nice and, black and white, silent, horror-y. Ooh, yes, I see the words eldritch, cold, and fungal horror, so it's kind of Lovecraftian Batman.
Okay. Nicely done there. All 3 issues of that collected here for you in softcover action on page 34. All right. And now, to make it even harder for me to scroll this, since it's side by side here, let's see if anything catches my eye at all, or I'm just going to go really, really fast. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, issue 12. Mark Waid and Ella Lupacino, with a cover by Dan Mora. The secret behind the Supergirl-Robin feud revealed. Oh, man. That looks like it's going to be fun.
It's Mark Waid. Come on.
Yeah, so it will be.
Indeed. Page 36 for that. All right.
I want to point out that Gotham City Year 1 by Tom McKean and Phil Hester, I've read issues 1 through 3, is superb. It's a Slam Bradley-centric story dealing with multiple generations of the Wayne family. And it's Bradley both in the past and in the the pitch perfect noir era, and then he's an old man in the present, actually relaying these events to Batman. It's again, Tom King can just pretty much do anything at this point. I mean, he's doing a great noir here. It's wonderful.
Yep. And Danger Street issue 3 on page 38 there. So 38 and 39, you get as much Tom King as you want. All right.
That's a great Stargirl cover.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, that's excellent.
Todd Knock.
Yep.
Your boy.
Indeed. Courtney and the missing sidekicks are on a mission to bust out their friends from the childminder's stronghold, but a plan is hard to come by. Have no fear. Hyper Time's greatest protector is here to lend a hand. Corky Baxter, Time Master.
Yeah, Johns is already in just like 2 comics published in the last couple of weeks, gotten more mileage out of Corky Baxter than has been gotten in the last 50 years.
Right next to that, we've talked about this in previous episodes. Superman Space Age. So this is the 3rd issue, which was delayed by Mark Russell, Mike Allred. This is tremendous. It's one of the most thrilling, like sort of DC, like more event type stories I've read in quite some time. It's beautifully done.
Both of those on page 41.
Look at page 42. Look at page 42. The last issue of Human Target by Tom King and Greg Smallwood. I will say it again this is not hyperbole, the best comic I'm reading right now. There's not even anything that comes close to it. In terms of the story, the design sense, the artwork, this will be remembered justly, I think, as an absolute classic.
I'm sure. Yep. This entire page is gold, by the way, because I just want to point out the Batman and Scooby-Doo Mysteries issue 5 by Shally Fish. We get, I'm sure Pants will be happy. We get Bet Kane involved here with some action.
Chasing a pack of motorcycle thieving rat people. Jeepers.
Yep. And then,
Zoinks!
And then 792 and 793 of the 1 Minute War. So issues 3 and 4 of the 1 Minute War in Flash by Jeremy Adams. And Jeremy Adams continues to do a damn good job on that book. Once again, all this on page 42. All right, we're in the trades.
Oh, look at page 47. Oh, jeez.
Man.
Oh.
Wow.
Sam and Mr. Theater Compendium 1. Issues 1 through 36, Annual 1. Man, this is a book we need to do in a some kind of critique format, book of the month or something down the road.
Mm-hmm.
One of the all-time great sort of finite DC series, taking a Golden Age character, bringing him back to the Golden Age, but like the seamy, sordid, noirish underbelly of the Golden Age. Matt Wagner, Steven Seagal writing, Guy Davis on the art. That's not one bad issue in this series.
Mm-hmm. Same page, by the way. Often overlooked, and I'm glad it's back in print. Power Girl, Power Trip. I remember when this came out. I was a huge fan of the series, and Justin Gray and Jimmy Palmiotti, along with Jeff Johns and Amanda Connor. Artwork by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. This collects JSA Classified 1 through 4 and Power Girl issues 1 through 12. And I was a huge fan of that Power Girl series when it came out, and happy to see it's being remembered by DC and putting back on the shelves there.
Yeah. As I recall,
go ahead.
Reintroduced the 70s Superman supporting character Vartox.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we got to visit his home planet of Valoron, the 70s porn planet.
Oh, that's right. Fantastic, Murd.
As Vartox was visually based, Chris, on Sean Connery
Zardoz.
in Zardoz.
Amazing.
Legends of the DC Universe, Carmine Infantino.
Indeed. Yep, page 46 there. Spanning his entire career. So that we've got stuff all the way from like Western comics to Showcase, to The Flash, to Brave and the Bold, Detective Comics, Strange Adventures, House of Mystery. Goes on and on and on there. But you get 408 pages by the master himself for only $50 retail before any discounts on page 46. So if you're looking to experience any Carmine Infantino, this might be a good way to do so. that is that. As we head on to the regular previews.
Priest writing Draculina.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know anything about it, but if he's writing it, I'll give it a shot.
He did another Draculina miniseries just a little bit ago. So I bought that, and I'm going to buy this one too.
Nice. Page 175 for that one. And we get more of the Gargoyles action further down here. Out of Dynamite. Darkwing
Did you see
Duck.
Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids?
I believe you did.
God, that takes me back.
I
Holy
went
mackerel.
by it as fast as humanly possible.
Sorry, Ian.
No.
I
it's
appreciate
fine.
that again.
It is Shelly Fish writing it, so
It is, yes.
It does deserve that much, but never been interested.
Right. It's just the opposite. In fact, those things, I didn't dare look at them in the cafeteria in elementary school because I wanted to, keep my lunch down.
I love when Murd brings out his traumas from childhood.
There was
Good show.
I forget where I was, but they put on an episode of the Garbage Pail Kids cartoon show, and some of the worst animation I've ever seen.
Well, Garbage Pail is right in the name.
You are right. Yep. 187 for that if you are interested. Once again, it's Shelly Fish, so I'm sure it's going to be great for anybody who's a fan of it. So do give that a shot. And then Darkwing Duck issue 2 on 191. And then Gargoyles immediately underneath that, issue 3 on page 195. And then once you get home from school, turn on Disney Afternoon. Excellent. Love this alternate cover here on page 198 by Joe Mad and Jimmy Palmiotti. Wow. I'm wondering the last time I actually saw any Joe Mad art. It's been a while.
Yeah, when's the next Battle Chasers coming out?
Good question,
Murd.
actually.
Yikes.
And mind you, this is part of Gargoyles #1 facsimile edition on page 199. Originally published in 1995, this Gargoyles tale spun out of the Smash Hit animated TV series and featured early work by Amanda Connor. Huh. Go
It was
figure.
written by the late, great Marty Pasco.
Yeah, wow. Wow.
How many issues did this run, or was it just a one-shot?
I'll have to look it up. It had to have been an ongoing, because I have vague recollection of like when I would be at a newsstand seeing Gargoyles comics on the newsstand. Might have even been published by Marvel, if I'm remembering correctly.
It sounds right.
Yeah, but it definitely lasted at least like a solid like 20 or 30 issues or something like that. Boglin's trading cards.
35th anniversary.
Wow.
Ugh.
Page 200 for that one. Okie dokie.
Murd's getting more exhausted by the moment.
Well, it's funny. It's funny too because I was at a showing at Alamo of Gremlins 2 nights ago, and as part of their pre-show, they showed Boglins, and I'm like, what the hell is Boglins?
Gremlins is a pretty subversive movie, man. That's a damn good movie.
It is something else, and rated PG at the time.
It was not a PG film.
No, there was at least one like 8 or 9-year-old that made their parent take them out of the theater while I was there. So I was reliving my Ghostbusters 2 moment all over again. Oh boy!
Oh, bless the 80s and their lax standards.
Yes.
Page 203. This is awesome.
This is for you, honey.
Oh my God. Supercade, a visual history of the video game age from 1985 to 2001.
There's a still from the X-Men video game.
There sure as hell is.
Yep, by Van Burnham. Now, little piece of trivia here. Do you know why this is the X-Men team featured in the video game?
I do not.
They based it off of Pride of the X-Men.
I thought so.
Oh, okay.
X-Men, X-Men,
Yep.
saving the day.
At the time, that was going to be what was going to be X-Men the Animated Series, and they licensed it off and then decided not to actually produce it. But by then, the video game was in mid-production, and they just
Dazzler in Pride of the X-Men?
I don't think she was. They may have swapped her out.
Okay,
because Kitty Pryde obviously was in Pride of the X-Men. I'm not sure if Dazzler was, but those designs are definitely straight from Pride of the X-Men. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out for sure. It's just basically the history of video games up until the early 2000s. So nice reference material, certainly. All right. Anything else in Dynamite, gents?
I'm good.
Same here.
Okie dokie. Let me scroll myself down here to set myself up for later. And until that time, onward to Marvel. The deadliest goblin of all. Ooh. We'll get there. Oh, my God. Look at this cover for Disney 100. Oh, that's so cool. What if Mickey and friends were exposed to cosmic rays? But we'll start off with, I'm amazed that we haven't had this as a title for anything up until now. Immoral X-Men, number 1 of 3. Written by Kieran Gillen with Paco Medina artwork. Can't get a better art team than that.
I have a question. Are Planet of the Apes now licensed by Disney too? They are.
Specifically by Marvel. Yeah. The license is now under Marvel.
Because Marvel did the classic Planet of the Apes comics in black and whites in the 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was a very recent thing. Thing. Marvel.
So now they're licensed because you got a great footnote cover of Cyclops scoring off against General Ursus.
Yep. I think this may have been their answer of we're not going to have Conan anymore, so we might as well get Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
Yeah. But they said the mutants were humanity's future. It's 10 years later, and they were proven to be right. The X-Men exist in a world that adores and respects them. So why are they sworn to crush it? But while they do, Emma can take a few minutes out to crush Mr. Sinister. The Mr. Sinister Captain America costume is chef's kiss.
That's Lux.
Yeah, I'm in all the way with this one.
Seems like we've got a whole Sins of Sinister event going on.
Indeed. Yep.
Around now, taking place in this 10 years later alternate future.
Mm-hmm. And Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants, issue 1 of 3, by Al Ewing and Paco Medina. They're just getting all of their heavy hitters for this one, clearly. 10 years from now, Mars has been destroyed, and now Storm wants revenge. First off, look at that Storm costume.
Yep.
They took bits from every single one of her costumes and put together something brilliant.
Yep.
Love it. Man. And who was the man called Ironfire? We'll certainly find that out. Nightcrawlers, issue 1. Paco Medina's doing the artwork on almost all of this.
Yeah. Starting to wonder if that might be a misprint or something. Because how could he possibly?
That's what I'm wondering. However, he did design all of these costumes, so we do know that much. Cy Spurrier on the writing, Paco Medina on the artwork. Again, it's 3 issues. Sinister's Private Assassins. For all we know, they were working months in advance on this one, and that's how they were able to pull it off. But you may also be right, Murd. This might just be copy paste, and forget it. Sinister's Private Assassins are the Nightcrawlers. Man, this has me just about as excited as like Age of Apocalypse did back in the day. Honestly, like this looks.
That's high praise.
This looks
high expectations.
With creators like that, it's hard not to. And then
so now Normie's the Goblin. So Normie Osborn, Norman's grandson.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I guess he got old.
I don't know.
Who knows? Children age at inconsistent rates in the comic book world.
Yeah, like because I'm sure Franklin Richards is probably only 10, but somehow Normie Osborn's probably like 15. All right, well, whatever. Red Goblin issue 8. Issue 1 here on page 8. Alex Parknadel and Jan Bazaldua. Spinning out of the pages of Venom, Normie Osborn receives his own symbiote at last. At last? Okay.
I didn't know we were waiting for that, but
Oh,
here it is.
clearly we were.
That might help explain why he is, or at least appears to be, so much older now.
Point. Yeah, that is certainly possible. I mean, I'd be willing to give it a shot and just see exactly what this is all about. Because, I mean, we have a Norman Osborn that's quote-unquote good running around the Marvel Universe right now.
Well, with his Gold Goblin series will be coming out by Cantwell.
That's true. Yep.
I think issue 4 is solicited in this very catalog.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
It was announced, by the way, that Brian Hitch will be leaving Venom, so I think this might actually be his very last issue on the book. But they're replacing him. I forget who the artist is, but it was still a top-notch artist. But Al Ewing continues his run on Venom on page 10 here. And it's another one that I'll have to check out eventually. But the finale of Dark Web, underneath that, Zeb Wells and Adam Kubert. Whew, man. This is another one that I'm really into, just because I'm a huge Inferno fan. Page 11.
Daughter of Blade.
Yeah, let's say we on Bloodline Daughter of Blade. Page 12 for that one. Danny Moore and Karen S. Darbo. You may remember, this is not the first time that this was solicited nor going to happen. I think it was originally part of like Marvel Now. They had announced a Daughter of Blade series that then got canned, and they just decided not to do it. And now here's finally a Daughter of Blade series many, many years later. But, interesting concept. Artwork is great. So as long as the story is good, then we'll see how that goes.
A new version of Marvel Tales reprinting 4 issues of Bendis's Avengers run.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great cover there by Nick Bradshaw, too.
Yep. Always good to see Wonder Man.
And always good to see Nick Bradshaw get to draw that era Wolverine. Betsy Braddock, Captain Britain by Tini Howard and Vasco Georgiev. On page 16, the captain comes home. She's got a whole new mission. Betsy stretching her Captain Britain wings a little bit further here, along with her family from the looks of it, and returning to the manor after quite some time away. That Rachel along with her, too, from the looks of it. Meanwhile, Bishop War College, number 1 of 5, page 18, the all-new, all-great X-Men debut. Krakoa is an island paradise, and it's a vulnerable one, but not with Lucas Bishop in charge, wearing his 90s cravat. Armor, Surge, Cam Long, Aura Charles, Amass. These are his students. Their course objective, get strong, defend the island, keep mutant kind safe. What does any of that have to do with an all-black X-Men team? Find out here. Bishop War College, 1 of 5. And we got a whole bunch of... this is a hidden gem variant cover.
That's 90s X Factor there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wilson Larry draw that one. So, yeah, Wills Portasio and Larry Stroman going back in time. Nice. And this is the War College here. All right. Let's move down to Silver Surfer Ghostlight. John Jennings and Valentine Delandro on page 22. There's Tony
More
Brooks.
Planet of the Apes variant covers.
Yeah, I know. All over the place. Tony Brooks and her family have moved into the quiet town of Sweetwater. Nothing is quite what it seems in their new home. What mystery did Tony and her family unravel that would call upon the Sentinel of the Space Waves, the Silver Surfer? I guess the Silver Surfer is going to get a new companion, like Doctor Who. Like every now and then, find a new human to take along on adventures, and I'm okay with that.
I'm looking forward to getting. I ordered the omnibus of the classic Allred run and Dan Slaughter. I can't wait to get that in my library again.
Oh, sure, yeah. Look at his cover here for Silver Surfer Ghostlight too.
Yeah, last sentence of the copy tells us that this Ghostlight person is, quote, a new Marvel superhero over 50 years in the making. So there's an untold story there.
Interesting.
Bang! See the mighty Avengers trapped. See the Teen Brigade in action. See action, drama, thrills, as only Marvel can present them. God, I miss Stan Lee's hyperbole.
And it's a facsimile edition, so look
better.
forward to a whole bunch of old school ads.
Well, Kang will be showing up in the next Ant-Man film in February. So
Yep. This is a facsimile edition only for $4, so it's just the price of a normal comic today. Not bad.
So Murd and I were talking off the air about how obviously we're looking forward to War Across Time by Levitz and Alan Davis, but I think they did like a subtle solicitation of the first issue that I totally missed.
I swore we discussed it last time.
I think maybe we did. Okay,
Yeah.
it wasn't in the catalog you thought it was in, or something like that.
Okay.
I think somebody mentioned that on the forums as well, but I don't know why they do stuff like that.
It's one of these deals where they're cramming like a month and a half worth of solicits into a single Marvel previews. And
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that either.
Yeah, I definitely remember mentioning it on our last previews though, because I was very like, Paul Levitz finally comes to Marvel.
Yeah.
But yes, Marvel's solicitations are never quite great.
But it was great to see Mike McCone, wonderful artist, in that variant cover there.
Absolutely. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen McCone on an ongoing, so it's nice to see his artwork anywhere.
So I don't know. I haven't been reading Avengers Forever on page 27, but just just the sheer. I mean, Dune's ego once again just simply knows no bounds across time and space.
Man. Mogo Doom.
Oh, here comes Doom, the Living Planet.
Oh my God.
It's been Jason Aaron just letting his imagination run wild.
Fabulous.
Yes.
Fabulous.
It's kind of a lot of the fun of Exiles, but specifically for Avengers characters.
Yes. And I am absolutely, I need to catch up on that because you just said all the magic words there, Murd. Monica Rambeau Photon continues her series on page 28, issue 3 of 5 of that one, and issue 2 of the new ongoing Scarlet Witch series on the following page, page 29. Ooh, boy, look at this. Look at these covers.
Yeah, that's impressive. The Fantastic Four.
Whew, man. Got a Stormbreakers variant cover by Chris Allen.
With a Herbie the Robot.
Yep. Variant cover by Joshua Swaby. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff there. Then that solo variant cover by Alex Ross. Whatever happened to the Fantastic Four continues. No more foreshadowing. What really happened back in New York is finally revealed on page 30. Then Joe Fixit issue 2. Yes, Spider-Man. Peter David, Joe Fixit, Spider-Man. Yes. Yes, thank you. Issue 2 of 5 there. Ooh. Striking.
That's an alarming image.
Yeah. Striking cover indeed on page 30.
I have the last Camel issue on my nightstand. I haven't read it yet.
I like how they put Tony Stark breaks bad.
Like, that hasn't happened before.
I was going to say, like, wasn't there an entire series of that after, what was it, where, like, the villains became heroes and the heroes became villains? He wound up becoming Superior Iron Man or something like that. Like, he was wearing the all-white suit.
Yeah, that dimly rings a bell.
Yeah.
I think it was Doom in the armor at that point.
That was the Bendis run that had Doom in the armor. The one I'm thinking of is the all-white outfit. The one that people were guessing that perhaps the Doctor Strange movie would introduce a version of the character played by Tom Cruise. That was the rumor going around the internet, and it was not at all the case.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise, page 34, issue 4 of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So
gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Mind-bendingly gorgeous.
Yep. All right. And issue 2 of 4 of Al Ewing's Wasp. Once again, doing what he did with Ant-Man, only this time with Wasp.
So Joe Kelly and Terry Dodson are doing a 2-issue guest spot in Amazing Spider-Man featuring the Black Cat.
I'm in for that.
Look at that no prize variant cover.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's pretty great.
I hope besides doing these variant covers, that Marvel actually does a Planet of the Apes series. I'd be interested to see what they do with that.
Yep, see which creators they bring on board for it.
Well, Jason Aaron did some great Planet of the Apes books. What was the company? Was it Boom? Do you remember that, Ian?
I do.
Some years back, they were. He did some great stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was Boom.
Oh wow! Look at the.
Yeah, it's a great cover.
Nobody draws weather better
Spidey 20,
than Romita Jr. Whether it be rain or snow or sleet. Man,
Look at the cold air coming out of the Black Cat's mouth. Wow.
so good. Page 37 for issue 20 of that. I was right, by the way. It was called Superior Iron Man. It was when he had that weird like headpiece thing going on too with Tony Stark. All right. Gold Goblin issue 4 or 5. Cantwell and Medina continuing their mini-series.
Yep. I wasn't sure if I wanted to read this story, but now that I know Jack-O-Lantern's going to be involved.
There you go.
They may have me.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Cantwell wasn't enough, but Jack-O-Lantern plus Cantwell.
Page 41, The End of the Spider-Verse continues with Slott and Bagley on Adjectiveless Spider-Man, issue 5. And issue 5 of Gaiman in Buckingham's Silver Age on page 43. And then talk about your facsimile editions. Amazing Spider-Man 129 facsimile on 44. First appearance of the Punisher.
Great.
Yep. We got a Punisher War Journal base, number 1. Also, the origin of the War Journal. Interesting. Page 44. Murder World comic featuring Moon Knight on 45. And then a new Brood storyline for the X-Men.
The Brood.
Yes. Oh, and look at that.
Yeah, it's a great homage cover by Dodson. Yep.
Oh, man. Extreme X-Men issue 4 of 5.
That's for you, honey. That's for you.
It is not for me. I may very well read at least an issue of it, though, just to see what it's like, because...
Yeah, come on. Do a field report. Take one for the team.
I might. I very well might. But you know what is for me? The Back from the Future X-Men Legends number 6. Just finally getting that whole XSE story that we never really got.
Oh, his two companions, right?
Malcolm and Randall, yeah.
Yep. The whole story behind that on page 48. And Will Spartacio returning to the X-Men after all these years. Oof. Look at that Wolverine cover. Page 49.
Yep.
I knew him well, Horatio.
Jeez. Fantastic. That Ken Lashley cover on Marvel's Voice of Wakanda Forever is stunning.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Absolutely stunning. Really
good stuff.
It's a one-shot featuring, stories of all the key characters in the world of Wakanda.
Including the debut of the last Black Panther in a story set in Wakanda's future.
I got, I think I mentioned this before, Todd Nisi Coates, the omnibus of his entire run. I'm really looking forward to finishing. I never finished that. Mm-hmm. Look at the cover. By the way, Namor the Submariner Conquered Shores, issue 1 was great by Cantwell.
Yep.
It's an old Namor in the future, navigating a world where much of the earth is now submerged.
Nice.
And look at that cover for Black Panther 14.
Ooh. Now, see, if any of you are looking for a classic Namor, that is absolutely a classic Namor right there, with its own no prize variant, also available on page 53.
And that's the classic Jungle Action era Black Panther, the no prize variant. Billy Graham or Murd, who created Deathlock? I'm ashamed.
George Perez.
No. I don't think Perez created Deathlock. Rich Buckler, wasn't it? Rich Buckler created.
Oh, right. Yeah. Perez did. I think he made his Marvel debut on Astonishing Tales.
That sounds about right. But I think that might be a Buckler Black Panther. It's Buckler
right.
Graham. But look, I love the copy. Namor never goes anywhere without a plan and an angle.
Page 60, we get the fallout of the previous storyline here as Rainbow Rowell continues her She-Hulk run. This has issue 10. It's time for the fallout. She-Hulk has experienced more trauma than most. Is this the straw? And is she the camel?
This is a series I have to pick up and trade. You've spoken of it so highly of it.
Give it a go. You'll love it.
Don't feel obligated to turn back, Ian, but I'm going to shout out back on page 54, Captain America Sentinel of Liberty number 9. There's a new Invaders team.
Oh,
Captain part of.
Definitely
so
go
I'm
back.
definitely checking that out.
yeah, absolutely.
Yep, we've got Cap, a version of the Destroyer. We've got Nick Fury Jr. and some other people I don't even recognize.
Man. Yeah, they don't actually list anybody, do they?
Just have to pick up the book and find out.
And they're fighting AIM.
Well, I mean, Captain America's got to fight AIM every now and then. I mean, that's
Of course.
that's just required.
Tried and true tradition.
Indeed. All right, let's see what else we have. Oh, wow, look at this cover to Alien number 6.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Whew.
Wow.
Wow.
That's stunning.
Bjorn Berens on that cover. Death is inevitable. Then a new 5-issue miniseries by Justina Ireland on page 69, Star Wars Sana Staros.
Oh, she's an old flame of Han that was introduced in the flagship title.
Mm-hmm. This is her first ever solo series. Haha, solo, I get it.
Oh, boy. Try the veal. God.
Hey, sometimes the solicitation just plays it out for me, whether I know it or not. But yeah, this is her first trial run as a hero on her own, and 5-issue miniseries here on page 69. And the cover here for Star Wars High Republic, it kind of looks like almost like Hellboy with the way the goggles are.
Yep.
All right. Onward to the trades.
Oh, man, there's some great stuff in here. Look at page 85. I mean, I'm not going to get this, but Marvel July 1963.
Yes.
The 60th anniversary of the X-Men Adventures by presenting each and every Marvel comic for the month of their debut.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Including modeling with Millie and Millie the model.
Yep. And Patsy Walker.
Kid Cold Outlaw, number 113.
And there is, by the way, on the preceding page, is the classic Ditko cover that was rejected for Amazing Fantasy 15.
Ah, yes. Yep.
And they had Kirby do it.
Yep. In almost the exact same pose, mind you.
No, I love both covers.
Oh, absolutely.
Ian, I've been waiting for this on page 89. Mm-hmm. If you would be so kind.
Yeah, by all means. Ooh, yes.
The whole story.
Wow.
Immortal Hulk 1 through 50.
Whew.
One of the most exciting Marvel titles of the past several years.
That's going to be one of those hefty tomes that will not be for Shane, because that's
no, but it will definitely be for me.
Yes, 50 issues right there. You're gonna have to be. You could use that as your lifting weights in the morning if you want to. Oh boy.
And on page 91, this is a Spider-Man story I've long loved. Yes. Spider-Man Blue, which I don't think has been in print for a while, if I remember correctly.
It hasn't.
So definitely picking this up too, because I haven't read this in years.
Yeah, especially with Tim Sale's passing.
Yeah, Tim Sale's passing. This is a wonderful love letter to late Silver Age Spider-Man.
Absolutely. And I think that's about it on the trade front, unless there's anything hiding down here in the Epic collection. Although Barry Windsor-Smith's Weapon X Deluxe Edition, I'll point that out with Chris Claremont and Frank Thierry on page 101. If you have not read this is certainly a nice way to do so. Reprinting that one for the first time in a bit. Marvel Comics Presents is included in here, including Uncanny X-Men 205 and material from Wolverine number 166. So check that one out.
I want to point out on page 104, if you're a fan of like the wacky era of Daredevil, So this is the Bronze Age, from the Bronze Age issues 108 to 132. Steve Gerber, Tony Isabella, Marv Wolf with Claremont, Jerry Conway, Len Wein, Bob Brown was his mainstay, Daredevil penciler, Gene Colan, Don Hexel, Buscema. This is, I mean, Daredevil is such an interesting publication because there's the different eras that are so different than what came before and what comes after. And this is just Daredevil just facing like Night Stalker, Bullseye's introduced. He fights the Black Spectre subversive organization, which of course features Necra Murd and what's the anthropoid character?
The Mandrill.
The Mandrill. So really fun. Man Thing shows up. It's just great, wacky fun.
Nice.
So.
All right.
Oh, on page 106, The Coming of Galactus.
Galactus.
Issues 33 to 51, except no substitutes there.
Oh yeah.
All right, I gotta leave soon, gentlemen. I apologize. I have some family stuff to tend to, but I just wanted to shout out, I think, a very important Tomorrow's publication. The latest issue of Alter Ego that's noted here. So several very important comic creators have passed away in recent months. The great inker Tom Palmer, who was a legendary inker in the Marvel era. He did Gene Colan on Tomb of Dracula and Doctor Strange, two seminal runs. Kevin O'Neill of Lately Extraordinary Gentleman, and of course Neil Adams. And Alter Ego. I remember Roy Thomas, of course, worked closely with Neil Adams. They're doing a tribute issue.
What was the page on that Tomorrow's?
411.
411. Excellent. Got it.
So, I mean, Neil Adams is obviously most listeners know what a giant he was. The contributions he made, both in terms of artwork, but also in setting up for creators' rights. He's a key reason why Siegel and Schuster were finally given recognition and compensation for Superman when that film came out in 1978, for example. So here we have in-depth interviews with Adams by different creators. A Lost Adams Brave and the Bold cover. There you go, Murd.
Nice.
And Unseen Adams Art and Artifacts. So, I mean, it's Roy Thomas. He worked with Neil Adams. I'm sure this is going to be a really loving and comprehensive tribute. So I'm looking forward to picking up that issue of Alter Ego. It's 181 on page 411. So,
fantastic.
Gentlemen, I apologize. I have to deal with some family issues.
All good.
Before it gets too late. I leave this, of course, in your more than capable hands. And Ian, happy Hanukkah.
Thank you. Thank you much.
Murd, I just love you. And gentlemen, we'll talk, of course, next week.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Good night, gentlemen. Take care.
Con Rios, my friend.
Indeed. Ciao.
All righty. And Murd, once again, it's just you and me, baby, for the back of the book.
Yep. 2 for the road, and that road leads through the rest of the book.
Indeed. And we begin with Aftershock and Bram Stoker Monster Hunter on page 226. Olivia Quartero Briggs and Adam Glass, along with Emilio Peluo on the artwork. The writing team behind Mary Shelley Monster Hunter reunites for Bram Stoker Monster Hunter.
Mm-hmm. It's a good gimmick. Works once. Try it again.
Exactly. Yep. New take on the origins of the most monstrous legends of them all. One that we dare you to sink your teeth into.
Apparently Oscar Wilde is involved. James Robinson would approve.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And in case you missed that Mary Shelley Monster Hunter series, to which this is a sequel, it's being made available in trade paperback. Just turn the page here to pages 228 and 229. Right there it is, by the same writing team. Art by Hayden Sherman. 120 pages, full color, $14.99.
Outstanding. Synchronicity. All right. Let's see. We got page 236. Rainbow Bridge is an Eisner Award and Ringo Award nominated series that's being resolicited, I believe, by Steve Orlando and Steve Fox. As Andy and Rocket grew up together, so when Rocket passes away right before Andy's 14th birthday, he's rudderless. Day before school starts, he visits Rocket's grave and unexpectedly summons the Rainbow Bridge, a gateway to a fantasy world where pets discover their afterlife.
Oh, and it's written by Steve Orlando. I knew there was a reason this concept worked.
Indeed. Yep. Yeah, no, that's an excellent premise, and I'm down for that on page 236. Certainly looks like it deserves those award nominations.
And here on page 238 and 239, Aftershock is giving us some of that Valentine's content you predicted, Ian. Under the heading, Love is Evil! Evil!
But of course, yes, nothing quite like Lonely Receiver and Jimmy's Bastards to make you feel like you're just ready and in love. Oh, yeah. And as previously mentioned, Conan the Barbarian, no longer with Marvel. Instead, page 242, Conan the Barbarian is with Titan. Robert E. Howard's Conan the Barbarian is back. He didn't really go away, but now he's just with Titan. And Jim Zub and Roberto De La Torre on the writing and artwork chores. As no longer is he a savage Avenger. Now he's just Conan. So there'll be a brand spanking new ongoing series launching in July of 2023. And this Free Comic Book Day issue starts things off on 242.
Mm-hmm. Well, we already know Jim Zub can write a good Dungeons and Dragons comic, so it's not a very long leap from there to a Conan comic.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How about page 244? Moriarty, Clockwork Empire. 1 of 4. Holmes and Watson face the mysterious Mr. Hyde. Greatest detective of all time, a steampunk universe, a story that goes full speed in graphic mystery. In a London opium den, a monster is killed by the police with 7 bullets to the body. At the Diogenes Club, an investigator and his partner thwart the Machiavellian plans of a card-playing automaton. And that evening, the monster's alter ego will come out of the hospital unscathed, and Holmes and Watson are on the case. Steampunk monster Holmes and Watson on page 244.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yes, indeed. Yep. And the artist of it is the artist of Riddler Year One that Paul Dano's working on. So Steven Subrick.
Stefan Subic.
Yep. Yes, you said it much better than I did. Interesting concept.
Certainly.
And then speaking of Jeremy Whitley, a lot happier thing of note, page 246. Sea of Thieves Origins, Champion of Souls. Dive into the lore of Sea of Thieves. Collects issues 1 through 3 of the digital comic series Sea of Thieves, Champion of Souls, and The Servant's Tale. All for you there on page 246. Alrighty. I think that's about it for Titan. Onward to Ablaze.
All right.
Page 254 gives us Witch of Mine, which is a webtoon come to print. Hayuni is the writer, and Moss is the artist. In these times, if you're too good or bad at something or simply too beautiful, you're called a witch. But there also exist magical beings called witches who have the power to travel through both time and different dimensions, and sometimes do it in the pursuit of love, Valentine's, with human beings. Up against twists of fate and time, an outcast young boy and a mysterious witch shunned because they're different from what's considered normal, one due to his imperfection and one due to her perfection. Will need more than just magic spells and incantations. They'll need each other. Very classic anime feel to this one on page 254. And Witch of Mine, if you're a fan of anime and manga, this one will definitely be for you. The artwork is very reminiscent of Full Metal Alchemist. That much I'll say. They certainly know what style they're going for there. And on page 256, Ablaze has the Sumerian box set. And part of me is thinking, Ablaze must be kicking themselves right now because they could have just gotten the thing. You know, they could have just gotten the Conan, but I guess they got out
on the market. But
yeah,
is it just missubmitting their bid?
I guess so. Well, either way, 1 through 4 box set of the Sumerian available on page 256. This is the way Conan was meant to be. Outright Geekery says. Your mileage may vary. Check that out for yourself on 256. All right. Let's get out of Ablaze and head over to Ancient Enemies, the Dajini. The writer, Dan DiDio.
Dun, dun, dun. With some help from a guy named Kevin Van Hook.
Indeed. With art chores by Jose Luis and Jonas Trindade. As spinning out for the pages of Ancient Enemies, we spotlight the Dajini, a mysterious half-human, half-alien creature born from the wreckage of a crashed spaceship. The book reveals his secret origins as he struggles with his alien birthright and his mission to kill an opponent he never met. Fascinating concept there as Dan DiDio returns to comics on 271. All right, and now we're in the tinier solicitations. Let's see what Archie has this month. You know what? Before we do, 286, Fantasy Comics Gallery. This is all artwork, but it's a one-shot. Brian Denham, Rod Espinosa, Joe Wright, and David Hutchinson. Steel your nerves and ready your eyes for a good adventure, a collection of sword and sorcery imagery by Antarctic's premier fantasy artists. So if you're looking for some good pinup art stuff, this might be for you. As this will be a monthly starting in April of 2023. But for now, you just get the pretty pictures on page 286.
I actually noticed something in American mythology I thought was worth a mention. This is back on page 283, and this is for Bronze Age buffs like myself. It's kind of a mashup of the 70s concepts of monster comics and team-up comics. It's called Monster Tag Team, written by Constantine Paradius and art by Gerardo Gambone. And yeah, it's about a vampire character and a werewolf character that team up to battle the terrorist organization Warlock in a Cold War that's gone occult. There we go. It's Vlad Dracul teaming up with Jesse Walker, a CIA-trained werewolf.
Okay. A concept that seems straight out of Saturday morning cartoons, honestly. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. 283. Also seems like it would fit right in with like the Marv Wolfman era of Marvel Comics.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep. And speaking of Mr. Archie, page 291, he's got his typical Valentine spectacular this month. Jamie Rotante and Various, art by Bill Goler and Various. It's all there for you.
Cover by the legendary Dan Parent.
Indeed. Wouldn't be a holiday without some sort of Archie special. Let's head over to page 302. AWA brings us a new Dan Panosian book, Black Tape, issue 1 of 4, illustrated by Dalabar Talachik. Jack King was a rock and roll god who projected a stage persona on par with the devil. After Jack dies on stage, his widow Cindy grapples with grief and struggles to protect his legacy, unaware that she's being surrounded by dark forces that covet the master tapes to Jack's final unreleased album, a heavy metal masterpiece that just might open a doorway to hell. That is a fascinating piece of horror rock and roll action there for you on page 302.
I don't know, Ian. We came in here looking for romance, but it looks to me like most companies are more interested in celebrating Halloween again.
It's kind of been the case since Halloween, if not beforehand. Yeah, you're right. Well, I guess we know what's selling right about now.
Yeah, I guess we do.
Yep. Speaking of which, page 305, Sacrament, Peter Milligan and Marcelo Frusin's trade paperback. First 5 issues of their Exorcist meets Alien sci-fi horror story. You know, I'm sure there's probably some romance in it somewhere, maybe. Maybe not. Page 307, Bunny Girl, The First Adventure by Holly Jane. You want something cute for your kiddos, this is 100% what this is going to be out of. It's a kid's comic by Burbay Publishing, and it looks absolutely adorable.
Yes, it does.
Onward we go. Page 311.
You just couldn't flip past that title.
I couldn't, and I've mentioned it before. It's the trade paperback for it, Gangster Ass Barista. First 3 issues of it, Pat Shan's Gangster Ass Barista. If you've been waiting on it, Black Mask has it for you in trade paperback action. 112 pages in black and white for $17.99 before discount. And then Snap Flash Hustle, also by Pat Shand on that very same page. Volume 1 of that, first 4 issues collected on page 311. Gangster Ass Barista.
That's very fun to say.
Very much so. You know what else is fun to say? New Jeff Smith. Volume
Fun to hear, too.
Indeed. Volume 1 of Tukey, Fight for Fire, the graphic novel. Available on page 317. As Jeff Smith is the writer and artist, of course. As the ancient world was filled with restless spirits and powerful forces. 2 million years ago, human evolution made its move. And it chose fire. At the dawn of humanity, during a period of tremendous change and drought, 3 lost children meet a mysterious traveler named Tukey. Together, their search for the mother herd of all buffalo leads them far north through the dangerous territory of a rival species called the Hablin. Nice fantasy tale there, akin to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and weaving in some myths and mysteries in there. Just what you want from a Jeff Smith tale on page 317. And page 318, 7 Years in Darkness by Joseph Schmalke. Academy of Black Magic has reopened its doors for the first time in 200 years. 72 children will walk through the academy doors for freshman year, but only 7 will graduate and walk out alive. Their 7-year journey starts here in this dark and sweeping fantasy epic from acclaimed comics creator Joe Schmalke. Kind of sounds like Battle Royale meets Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yep. You know, Valentine's Day.
Right.
Boy. Oh, yeah. Page 321. Fishhead, The Art of Ray Troll. This is an exuberant plunge into the fantastic realities of sea creatures and prehistoric animals that come alive with scientific realism and Ray Troll's quirky sense of humor. This artwork is superb and has to be seen to be believed. Page 321. Love a good art book.
And that one, if you enjoy creepy fanged fish and things made up of composite fish.
That one's for you. Definitely.
Yeah, it's great work. A little outre, but good.
322 out of Clarion Books called Project Naught. Chelsea Ferretti is the writer and artist of this one. For fans of Kiss Number B and On a Sunbeam, this debut graphic novel is a fast-paced time travel adventure. They have me at time travel. With a hint of romance that has garnered 1.5 million views as a webcomic. And now here it is collected for you all as Ren's last memory in the year 1996 is getting on a bus to visit his mystery pen pal, Georgia. When he wakes up in 2122, he thinks he might be hallucinating. He's not. That's a jump in time right there. Yeah, Ren's life in the 90s is practically ancient history, and Ren's not sure how to feel about that. I would not know how to feel about that either.
Wow.
Yep.
22nd century Rip Van Winkle.
Indeed.
Not bad.
Yep. Project Naught, page 322. Futurama with a little bit less welcome to the world of tomorrow.
Shut up, Terry.
That should be coming back soon, too.
Yep, they finally got the full cast nailed down.
Indeed.
All right there on page 325 is an interesting looking graphic novel from Drawn and Quarterly.
Yep.
It's called Toys Talking. It's by writer and artist Leanne Shapton, and Previews has proclaimed it a best of collectibles selection. And it's a bunch of little vignettes about the inner lives of toys. Shapton explores toys' inner lives to reveal that their thoughts and feelings are just as complicated as our own. The concerns of these bunnies, bears, and ducks range from the mundane to the existential, and with each new pairing of character and text, we see a deeper portrait of their pensive, quiet world. So it's like Woody and Buzz meets Woody Allen, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Just the inner neuroses of familiar playthings. It's a board book, too. So it's apparently intended for both younger and older audiences. I kind of wish there were a page count available here so I could see just how much content we're getting for our $12.95.
Point, but sounds cool nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Toys Talking. It would also be a good name for a podcast.
Yes. Maybe rearrange the words a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Edgar Rice Burroughs, Inc. gives us a restored edition of Beyond the Farthest Beyond the Farthest Star. And you got a Frank Frazetta cover, if that's not enough to sell you on it. But yeah, Edgar Rice Burroughs is the writer. Mark Schultz is the artwork, along with Roy Krenkel. And Beyond the Farthest Star is back in print as an illustrated novel on page 330. So if you're a fan of that, this will be for you.
It's very cool.
Yep. Why not? Let's go with Photonic, Man of Light, on page 332, written and drawn by Ciro Tota. And all his life, he was bullied and sometimes called a monster. But when Hunchback Thaddeus Tenterhook, what a name, becomes the flawless Photonic, the Man of Light, people only see the hero. Will his powers change the man he is inside? So kind of a Captain Marvel Jr. scenario where the the man behind the amazing superhero is has their troubles, but
is
yep,
physically disabled, malformed.
Indeed. Yeah, interesting concept, and I dig.
Sounds like something Stan Lee would have come up with too.
Very good point. Yes. Yep. Especially with a name like that.
Says here it was a cult hit in Europe, and now it's being translated into English for the first time.
Excellent. Very cool. Once again, page 332 for Photonic. Here's our Valentine's Day. Page 335. Dear Body. Trade paperback written and curated by Leah Bourdieu. Artwork by tons of people. 12 women and non-binary people describe their relationships with their bodies in their own words. Illustrated by 12 brilliant artists, a stunning and creative graphic novel about body positivity. That is absolutely something that you need around Valentine's Day. For years, Leah Bourdieu has interviewed over 70 women and non-binary people from all walks of life about themselves and their bodies on her YouTube channel with the help of 12 female and non-binary cartoonists. She's adopted hundreds of hours of interviews into a graphic novel packed with the most powerful and emotional stories. So, Dear Body on page 335.
It's excellent pointy, and this is a good thing to have out there around Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. Absolutely the case. And then 336, The Extraordinary Part, Book 1, Orsay's Hands. This looks beautiful, as do most Fantagraphics books, but this is just another one to add to the list. But a French book by Florent Rupert and Jerome Mulot. It's the first of a 2-volume series set in a near-dystopian present where mysterious creatures called holes coexist with humans. 19-year-old Orsay leads an uneventful life until the day he gains extraordinary powers in his hands after an aggressive encounter with a hole. While in search of a cure, he falls for an activist for holes' rights. But Orsay isn't convinced what holes should be granted the same status as humans. Kind of an X-Men-esque adventure going on there on 336.
Yeah.
And then on 337, 337 is chock full of good stuff, actually. But specifically from Fantagraphics, Evita, The Life and Work of Eva Peron by Hector Germain Osteld. This was published in 1970. And this is, the follow-up to the successful and controversial 1969 graphic biography, Life of Che. But the script was taken away from him and depoliticized by another writer. And then in 2002, they restored, revised, and updated the script featuring the original work, essentially, and remade it the way that it was supposed to be made. So that's fascinating.
20 years later, it's been translated into English, and we can see it for ourselves.
Indeed. Yep. Nice to see something that was meant to be one way actually restored to be that way. All right. Roll back down to 340. A First Time for Everything by Dan Santot. Dan's always been a good kid, but being a good kid doesn't stop him from being bullied and feeling like he's invisible, which is why he has low expectations when his parents sent him on a class trip to Europe. At first, he's right. Stuck with the same girls from his middle school who loved to make fun of him, Dan doesn't know why his teacher insisted he come on this trip. But as he travels through France, Germany, Switzerland, and England, a series of first experiences begin to change him. First Fanta, first fondue, first time stealing a bike from German punk rockers, and first love. I love stories like this, and this is a nice slice of life tale.
First Fanta. I didn't think that was as big a milestone for other people as it was for me.
Yeah, I know. Because, well, there are flavors of Fanta that only exist overseas, but we do have like the basic orange Fanta in these neck of the woods.
Oh, sure. Yeah, we used to have a Coke machine that dispensed long neck glass bottles of different Coke products here at the Christmas barn when I was a kid. So
nice.
I could reach in there and grab out an ice cold orange Fanta anytime I wanted.
Ah, that's delightful. Oh, man. And then on page 340, another one suited for kids, Investigators, Agents of Suit by John Patrick Green and Christopher Hastings. The world of John Patrick Green's kid favorite Investigators series expands with the first volume of Agents of Suit, a brand new spin-off shining a light on some of Mango and Brash's colorful co-workers.
Starring Cilantro the Chameleon.
Yes. And Cilantro steps into her own vest as a valued member of the team.
Yes, that's an acronym, VEST, so clearly these vest garments have some kind of special powers.
Of course. Suit has to have vest, after all. Very same page. Alex Segura out of Flatiron Books brings us Secret Identity. It's 1975 and the comic book industry is struggling, but Carmen Valdez doesn't care. She's an assistant at Triumph Comics, which doesn't have the creative zeal of Marvel nor the buttoned-up efficiency of DC, but it doesn't matter. Carmen is tantalizingly close to fulfilling her dream of writing a superhero book. That dream is nearly a reality when one of the Triumph writers enlists her help to create a new character, which they call the Lethal Lynx, Triumph's first female hero. But her colleague is acting strangely and asking to keep her involvement a secret. And then he's found dead. With all of their scripts turned into the publisher without her name, Carmen is desperate to piece together what happened to him, to hang to her piece of the lynx, which turns out to be a runaway hint. But that's complicated by a surprise visitor from her home in Miami, a tenacious cop who's piecing everything together too quickly for Carmen, and the tangled web of secrets and resentments amongst the passionate eccentrics who write comics for a living. This is awesome.
A lot going on there. It's going to be a fun little fictionalized look inside the world of mid-Bronze Age comics publishing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mid-Bronze Age Cavalier and Clay mystery, essentially. Man, I'm all for this. I gotta earmark this one because I'm a fan of Alex Segura to begin with. So yeah, this is something else right here. Excellent. Secret Identity, a novel. Yep, coming out on March 15th. So this is a novel, by the way. I do want to point that out. So any of you who are looking for pretty pictures, you're gonna get words, but it's gonna be well worth it for the looks of it. Okay, let's head over to 345. Akim Alu, Dreamer, a graphic memoir. Akim Alu, also known as Dreamer, is a Ukrainian-Nigerian-Canadian professional hockey player whose career took him all around the world and who experienced systemic racism at every turn. Dreamer tells Akim's incredible story from being the only black child in his Ukrainian community to his family struggling to make ends meet while living in Toronto, to confronting the racist violence he often experienced both on and off the ice. It's a gut-wrenching and riveting graphic novel memoir that reminds us to never stop dreaming and is sure to inspire young readers everywhere. Yeah. Interesting story. Page 345. I do love a good graphic memoir, and not often where I hear the words Ukrainian, Nigerian, Canadian professional hockey player.
Yeah, that makes one for me so far.
Yep. So graphics with an X at the end. You got something interesting there with Dreamer, a graphic memoir. Once again on 345. Okay. Let's go with Storyboarding for Whimwenders. What a title. Page 353. Stefan Lemardel. In 2014, storyboard artist Stefan Lemardel began work with legendary filmmaker Wim Wenders on his new project, the emotional Everything Will Be Fine. The opening scenes Stefan worked on would become some of the most renowned of the film, but it was the relationship he built with Wenders that would truly change him. Through this graphic novel memoir, Stefan captures not only the production of this film, but moments of artistic reflection from himself as he ponders the trajectory of his career and evolution as an artist, and the use of film as a tool to examine his own humanity. Love me some filmmaking, and I did just see Spielberg's take on this whole behind the scenes love of film. So this might be scratching that same itch from the looks of it. Good stuff. Page 353. Excellent artwork on the next couple pages.
Yep. Looks like the creator incorporated some of his actual storyboards into the art for the comic.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And that brings us to IDW.
Cover image coming soon. Cover image coming soon.
Patience leaving soon.
This is now month 4 of that, if I remember correctly.
At least.
Right.
They just, I don't know why they can't get their act together. Yeah. But anyway, on page 357, the first page, it looks like they're going to be doing a comic based on the Dungeons & Dragons Saturday morning cartoon.
Very cool.
It's right there, Dungeons & Dragons Saturday Morning Adventures #1, written by Sam Maggs, art by George Cambadeas.
All right. Yeah. So let's jump back in time to the 80s.
Sure. For the 12th time in this catalog.
Exactly.
That's a conservative estimate.
Yep.
On the same page, we've got another one of IDW's Godzilla Rivals one-shots. This time, for the first time, one that doesn't actually involve Godzilla himself. It's a couple of his supporting players battling each other. Mothra versus Titanosaurus.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting move there.
Indeed.
And on page 358, I'm sorry Chris is no longer with us here because he needs to be told about this. Christopher Cantwell is writing a new Star Trek series called Star Trek Defiant. Perfect. Just the right note there.
Yes.
Yep, Cantwell's writing it, and Angel Unzueta is the artist.
Now, is this going to be a sequel to Deep Space Nine? Because it certainly should be with the Defiant. So that's okay.
It mentions Cisco and it mentions Worf, so it seems like it's a good bet.
Okay. All right. I'm totally down. I'm absolutely down for that. And that's on page 358, and also on page 358. 358 is just the page for IDW because it's got the Rocketeer, the Great Race trade paperback. So if you're waiting for that to be collected, that's all there for you on 358. It has a trade paperback of the Lower Decks comic book, which is just as good as the series from what I've seen of it so far, and Star Trek: The Mirror War, which collects that entire miniseries of 8 issues there for you. Once again, all on page 358. And artist editions out the wazoo on page 361. Get a Joe Kubert artist edition. At the top of that page, you got a Jack Kirby Commandy artist edition, volume 2, and Will Eisner the Spirit artist edition, volume 2, along with a Jack Kirby Mr. Miracle artist edition, all on page 361. So if you have all the money in the world to spend, you can buy every single one of these, all for like $150 a pop. Page 365, Last Gasp. I Saw It, the graphic novel by Kaiji Nakazawa. Life in Hiroshima during the war was difficult for 6-year-old Kaiji and the Nakazawa family, but they made the best of it. On his way to school one bright August morning, Kaiji was unaware his hometown would soon be turned into a world of horrors. That morning, he watched as a single airplane soared through the clear blue sky, carrying with it the most powerful weapon that has ever been created, the atomic bomb, codenamed Little Boy. It was about to fall on Kaiji's city, changing his life forever. This is the true story of the atomic bombing of Hiroshima and its effect, seen through the eyes of cartoonist Kaiji Nakazawa. This is definitely going to be something that Chris would probably want to check out, just for the historic value of it, and it is going to be some heavy stuff.
First-hand eyewitness account.
Yeah.
One of the most significant events of 20th century world fare and warfare and just history in general.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Once again, I Saw It on page 365. Page 368, Live Right gives us Last on His Feet, Jack Johnson and the Battle of the Century. All about Jack Johnson, the world's first black heavyweight champion, and the most infamous athlete in the world because of his race. And he was paired against Jim Jeffries, a former heavyweight champion, then heralded as the Great White Hope. It was the height of the Jim Crow era, and spectators were eager for Jeffries to restore the racial hierarchy that Johnson had pummeled with his quick fists. Through a combination of heartbreaking illustrations and striking verse, Last on His Feet honors a contentious civil rights figure who has, for more than a century, been denied his proper due. And he gets it here with his story being told. Last on His Feet, Jack Johnson, The Battle of the Century, on page 368. For something completely different, 374, Manuscript Press gives us Alley Oop and the Dragon of the Iron Castle. Allie hunts down the fire-breathing, girl-stealing dragon of Iron Castle and discovers a surprising relationship to the beast. Then our hero finds himself accidentally betrothed to the burly belle Brunhilde.
By gosh. Wow, this is the entire year of daily strips from 1954.
Yep.
Okay, that seems to be how they're reprinting Alley-Oop, just a whole year's worth of content, but kind of in seemingly random order. I mean, over the summer I ordered like 1979's year's worth of strips, which involved Alley-Oop going to Lewis Carroll's Wonderland for a while.
That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, and we can't leave page 374 without mentioning under Mercury Comics Spotlight on, thank you previews for that, one of the most significant works of our pal Uncle Sal, The Hostage, in a slipcased hardcover edition.
You got it. Yep.
Telling the story of Brazilian street kids who've been abandoned by society. So this is something that it's a different kind of work for Sal. And I know he was, he thought about it long and deeply, and I know he was very proud of it and did everything he could to promote it. So here it is again, folks. If you missed it the first time, Uncle Sal gets serious here. It's well worth your time.
Absolutely. Yep. And we'll certainly have to get the uncle back on sometime in the not too distant future to shoot the shit and talk comics like we love to do with the man, and probably just sit back and relax and let him talk and make us laugh for a solid 3 hours straight. So good times all around. But this is absolutely worth checking out if you have not already done so. The Hostage is absolutely stunning artwork and a story that really does mean a lot to Sal. So check it out on page 374. All right, moving forward to some Oni action.
Yep. Despite that sorry showing around San Diego Comic-Con time when it looked like, well, they kind of randomly dismissed a lot of their staff and then put out a really poorly worded and conceived press release to try to explain it.
Yep.
The company still exists, it would seem.
Indeed.
And they're still putting out books.
And they're putting out great covers for Rick and Morty versus Cthulhu on page 382. That Incredible Hulk send-up comic cover there for issue 3 is pretty damn awesome. Everything else is midstream, though, on Oni, so not really much to mention this time around. There is a new Bill and Ted one-shot on page 384. Bill and Ted, The Princesses, issue 1. After they escaped medieval England, but before they changed the world as wild stallions, Princess Joanna and Elizabeth were shown the ins and outs and in and outs of 1980s America, with Rufus as their most excellent guide, plus a daring tale of Joan of Arc. So a science story with all the ladies for Bill and Ted.
All right. Well, we're being told it's a one-shot, but also that it's number 1 of 4. So I wonder if it's going to be 4 different one-shots spotlighting different supporting characters. I don't know.
Let's go with that and hope that that somebody just made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah. But should be mentioned, this is written by Corinna Bechko.
Yes.
Who's the wife and creative partner of our old friend Gabriel Hardman.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Very same page. Any of you who are fans of one of the best parts of the Daredevil movie, which was me finding out that Evanescence existed. Evanescence, My Heart is Broken one-shot. This takes basically the biggest hits and short stories created by an all-star cast of creators and takes their music and sets it to comic book. So Evanescence, My Heart is Broken, one shot here by Maura McHugh and Valeria Romanessi.
So if you have fond memories of that mid-2000s power rock combo, I mean, it's there it is, being adapted into comics for you.
Indeed. And on 385, I will continue to mention this. Not enough people are mentioning the fact that the Doctor Who magazine is where you will find the first appearance of the new Doctor. And I'm not spoiling anything, even though most of the internet has spoiled it already. But if you want a go-between story before the nearly year wait, you're going to have to wait to get more of that Doctor Who action. You'll find it in the Doctor Who magazine. So check that out on page 385 if you have not done so. 386, Pre-Code Classics World of Fear, Volume 2 Softy, Sheldon Moldoff and Various. Get Worlds of Fear, issues 6 through 10 for the Comics Code Authority. Change things forever. On page 386. Go back in time a little bit and experience horror comics in the before times. Here we are, page 390. Fallen, number 1. Matt Ringle and Henry Ponciano. Casper Clay, an ancient warrior and immortal servant of Zeus, turned private detective, navigates the murky depths of a criminal underworld to solve the murder of a god at the hands of a mysterious killer. Ash gets closer to unraveling the truth. He learns that there may be more at stake than solving a case.
Well, yeah, if a god has been murdered, it's a pretty good sign that there's more at stake there.
In general, that's usually a good indicator. Yeah. Once again, 390 for that one. Fallen, number 1. Dig that covered layout with all the different panels there, getting the point across.
Creeping up onto the top of page 392 here, we've got to mention something coming out from Scout Comics. It's called Banshees number 1, and it's co-written by our pal Dave Dwanch and Jessica Balboni, with art by Riccardo Fassini, I think it says there. And it's the story of a college girl who is a freshman in college, and she gets all caught up in ghost stories about a mysterious serial killer called the Lion that used to stalk the dormitory in which she's living. And, but old ghosts can lay dormant for only so long.
We may need to get old Dwanchi back on the show to talk about this one. This sounds pretty damn cool.
Yes, it does.
Yep. Well, check that one out for sure on page 392. Banshees numero uno. Out of Scout, and Scout puts out good stuff.
Yep, Carl Kiesel and David Hahn bring Impossible Jones back to the previews catalog here. It's another one of the kick-started one-shots featuring Mr. Kiesel's original character. It's the Impossible Jones and Holly Days team-up. Two picaresque characters that kind of walk the fine line between hero and criminal. And they're having a girls' night out around Christmas time.
Nice.
And Holly's ex, Krampus, shows up.
That sounds like fun. Nothing could possibly go wrong there. And later on in that very same 393, Junction Jones by T.C. Pescatore and Luciano Cruzado. In the derelict slums of a multi-dimensional town of Junction, Mr. Nibbs and Junction Jones scour the dangerous alleyways in search of illicit organic material to sell off at the local black market, chop shops, and transmutation garages. Jesus. Until an anonymous tip leads them to the remains of a murdered Earth hobo. The evidence they uncover on the body points to a vast government cover-up, a conspiracy of which they're now inexplicably at the center. Their first instinct, run and hide. Yeah, that would be my first instinct too. But a suspicious maintenance team that just so happens to arrive at the same time looking for the same body may hamper that. Interesting.
Sounds like it's a story about that black market organ trader from Futurama. I take lungs now, gills come next week. That guy and his pet cat having their own solo adventure.
I'd sign up for that. I would absolutely sign up for that. That's a spin-off that I want to see. 393, Junction Jones and the Corduroy Conspiracy is the full name for it. All right. I think we're almost catching up to where Chris left us off, but there might be a few things in between there. Page 400, Legion of Darkness, The Fourth Eagle. Written by Trill, art by Trill, cover art by Trill. 3 outcast warriors venture into the forest of Teutoburg, the scene of one of the greatest Roman military defeats, to return a coin to the ghosts of the soldiers who fell in that battle. Interesting. Historical one-shot here on page 400, Legion of Darkness, The Fourth Eagle.
Sounds like a good one for fans of Peter Milligan's Britannia.
Indeed. And then, all ages, page 401, The Adventures of Cthulhu Jr. and Friends. Now I've seen everything. Dirk Manning, Scoop McMahon. It's Cthulhu, but he's a cute one, and it's his kid. So there we go. Page 401. Page 402. I just have to say it. It rhymes with funt. I have no idea what they could be talking about here. None whatsoever, and I'm not going to. Oh boy. The town knew her as Margot Funt, but they had another name for her. Actually sounds pretty good. Bob Woodwork was the newly hired editor of the Daily Babbler, recently arrived from New York City and ready for a challenge. But he hadn't counted on that challenge involving an old flame from his troubled past. With the sudden death of Sebastian Funt, his widow was the richest woman in Man Cave, Kentucky. Just Man Cave. She set aside her mourning to step into his shoes and make her presence felt. She'd show this tiny tapioca mining town what real power looked like. They would come to fear. I know.
Okay. Yeah, this is a sham graphic novel.
Oh,
the whole
absolutely.
concept behind sham is that they take old comics and they just come up with new captions and new dialogue and turn the whole thing into comedy.
Yeah.
And this time they're overlaying their comedy over some of the work of Matt Baker, who was one of the earliest working African-American artists in comics.
Very good. Very cool. Yeah. This though, sham comics are essentially the Weird Al Yankovic of comic books, but it's sounds hilarious. Hopefully it is actually good. But wow, it rhymes with funt. On page 402. Page 408, Neverender by Devin Kraft. The year is 20X19, and due to breakthroughs in artificial accelerants, mankind is taken to the stars. The edge of civilization, the dominant sport is a civilized sword duel to the death. To the death! The rules are simple. The duel must be agreed upon by both crows. A time and place must also be agreed upon. Both duelists must acknowledge each other. Only 2 crows may duel at a time. A crow must have direct contact to his weapon, and once the kill is confirmed, the match is over.
A lot of capital letters in there.
Indeed. In the city of riots, Merrick, a disaffected terrestrial youth, fights for his survival. In duels. Page 408.
Yep. On that same page, also from Sumerian Comics, formerly known as Behemoth Comics, Rock and Roll Hell. It's interesting. This is coming out the same month as Dan Panosian's Black Tape because it's a somewhat similar premise.
Mm-hmm.
A bit sillier, though. This leans more towards like Death Clock Metalocalypse.
I was going to say, because they look like Death Clock.
They do. At that. Yeah, okay. So the scene is the summer of 1991 in rural Finland. And there's a metal festival going on, and the American death metal band Feral Carnage is playing when what should occur but the second coming of Jesus, who immediately damns the entire festival to hell after taking one look at them. But then Feral Carnage, with their super dark metal music, are able to rally together a bunch of demons of hell to fight back. So yeah, not exactly uplifting, but it's metal as hell. So if you're a fan of Death Clock, you'll probably enjoy that too. And it is a one shot. 48 pages.
I just immediately think of myself, one of my favorite lines from Metalocalypse. We got you the most metal gift of all, disappointment. 408. Good times. All right. I think we are back up to Tomorrow's at this point. Was there anything else by Tomorrow's worth pointing out this month? Comic book creator, perhaps? Page 411. Yeah, wow. Actually, yeah, this is kind of cool. Features the life and brilliant work of Michael Cho, Canadian comic book artist, illustrator, and graphic novelist, in a career-spanning interview in Art Gallery. Story Trinity was selected by editor Neil Gaiman for the Best American Comics Anthology, and Cho's poignant graphic novel Shoplifter received rave reviews. Also, we chat with the publisher of one of the earliest graphic novels, Will Eisner's A Contract with God, Baronet Books' Normand Goldfind. Plus, this issue showcases a reprinting of a 1974 trade magazine look at Jack Adler and the DC Comics production department's process of reprinting Golden Age materials. That right there is the star of that particular comic book creator, because that has to be fascinating stuff.
It's not the sort of thing that gets discussed that often.
Yeah, indeed. And Retro Fan continues to be Retro Fan on the next page, 412.
Indeed it does.
Super Friends, Mr. T. Oh, boy.
Yep, the British Avengers, Stephen Peel.
Oh, yeah. And Unbound on page 412. This is a history book, but what a history book. The origin story of Games Workshop, Dice Man. The origin stories of Games Workshop by Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson. Anybody who's into Dungeons and Dragons, this is going to be for you. So, Dice Men, the origin story of Games Workshop. Get the beginning stories right there.
Yep, and right above that, still from Tomorrow's, this is for the pants in you. It's one of those fun and fact and photo-filled visual reference books that Tomorrow specializes in. Britmania, the British invasion of the 60s in pop culture.
Nice. All right. Good stuff. Okay. Seeley and Campbell's West of Sundown, page 422, being collected, for volume 1 of that, if you had not checked it out. Beautiful vampire must flee monster slayers in New York City and reclaim the ancestral soil that restores her undead flesh. You know, like you do.
If you're in a Tin Seeley comic book, you do.
Mm-hmm. And now for the romance we've all been looking for on page 423, Bonding, a love story about people and their parasites.
It's about the purest romance we're going to get out of this previews, I'm afraid.
It certainly looks that way, yep. Matthew Ehrman, Emily Pearson, Kaylee Davis, and Jim Campbell. A man, a woman, and their parasites. Marcus has felt alone since the loss of his sister, and has recently entered into the dating scene. Laura has drifted into adulthood after bouncing through foster care. They meet, they have an eventful first date, and Marcus almost dies because the slug-like alien suction cup to his chest nearly rejects him, its host, bonding in a funny, quirky, and honest look at love in a world where everyone is host to an alien.
Sounds sweet and only a little bit cynical.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, so good times. It's kind of Star Trek-y in that way. So everyone's a trill. Let's just leave it at that. Everyone's a trill in this reality. But 423, we get ourselves some romance, just like you were looking for, a bonding, a love story about people and their parasites. And I think that's all for me before manga.
Yep, same here.
Okie dokie, we'll head there. And I want to point out, Marvel missed the boat because they had a romance book that's been printed on Marvel Unlimited that was like in the old school style with Patsy Walker that they really should have just released this month. Like, that would have made so much sense, but I guess I just felt like it wasn't worth it. Oh well. Okay, let's start off with 455 and Chojin X. Tokyo Ghoul creator Sui Ishida brings his signature brand of horror to a gripping new tale of superpowered creatures. And they say fans of X-Men and Deadpool will delight in the gritty, dark humor of this twisted superhero tale. On page 455, we're getting more and more superheroes out of Japan, and I am okay with that.
Mm-hmm. No complaints here either.
Indeed. Dark humor and quirky horror unite. As best friends, Tokio and Azuma do everything together, even if most of their time it feels like Tokio is just stumbling around Azuma's cooler, more talented footsteps. But when they're attacked one night by a superhuman mutant called a Chojin, Tokio finally has a chance to shine by turning into a Chojin himself. 455, Chojin X. Then 457, The Girl That Can't Get a Girlfriend. Originally published as a webcomic, The Girl That Can't Get a Girlfriend grew a large audience of readers and followers in just 2 years. This is the collection of said webcomic in manga form. And it has an excellent name. The Girl That Can't Get a Girlfriend. 457. I will look for one more and try to find the most Japanese of names, and then I will call it a day, I think.
All right.
Let's see.
The quest is on.
Indeed. Let's see. Anything new? Weirdly enough, December just seems to be a month with not a lot of like first volumes of things in general. All right, I'll give it one more scroll, and if I can't find nothing, then I am basically hanging it up. All right, here we go. You know what? Keep moving. Let's see. I was about to say it, and then I'm like, Tokyo Pop, I could skip that. All right, here we go. Yeah. Let's go with 491. And my unique skills makes me OP even at level 1, volume 2. Now, this is the volume 2, so you'll have to find volume 1. But I just need to point this out just for the name of the damn thing. Once again, my unique skills makes me OP even at level 1. So overpowered even at level 1. Ryoto Sato gets the surprise of his life when he's suddenly transported into another world and nearly clobbered at the hands of the young, pretty adventurer Emily Brown. This new world revolves around defeating monsters and profiting off whatever they drop. Food, money, items, and more. Unfortunately for Ryota, he has no skills to speak of until he learns he has otherworldly drop luck that brings him never-before-seen items. Suddenly, his luck turns around. Or does it?
Okay. Well, I'm not as deeply engrossed in the world of gaming as I might be, but this still makes sense to me.
Yep, and this is a light novel, so this is actually closer to a novel. There'll be some illustration in it, but for the most part, this will actually be a novel rather than a manga, but still worth checking out. Page 491. And that is that. We are in the apparel and the cool stuff. So any toys or whatnot, or have we shot our bolt?
Oh no, I did notice a few things that I think are worthy of a mention here. So let's bear with me here as we speed run through a few of these.
But of course.
All right, let's see. First turned dog-eared corner here.
Sorry,
page M16.
Yeah, no, you said M16? Okay, good, because that's right
M6,
before what I was going to say.
Yeah, for a pretty good sculpt of Iceman.
Ooh, yes.
Comes with his own snap-on ice ramp and multiple interchangeable parts.
Nice. Trying to think of when Iceman had that belt, though, because usually there's usually like a red X on it or something like that, not a what appears to be a screw.
It does kind of look like a screw, doesn't it? And there's this invisible thing on page 18.
Indeed, yep. M18. It's Monster Girl. I love Monster Girl. This is done in the style of the animated series, and God, I can't wait for that animated series to come back. Like it's been too long now already. Damn it, give me more. But it's awesome.
Yep, there, page 19 is something else that will be of interest to fans of the late Jason David Frank. Mm-hmm. It's a Green Ranger bust.
Indeed. Yep.
Half scale. Following up that on the next page is a cool-looking Admiral Akbar statue.
It's a trap.
It's a $250 cost.
Man, it is something else, though. That's beautiful.
It is. And that's followed up by an animated-style Mace Windu bust on page 21 and a Black Chrysanthemum bust on page 22.
As I hold up my Mace Windu pop that's still over here.
Oh, yes, there he is. For a second there, I thought that was Groot, but nope. That's
nice. Ooh, wow. Oh, my God. That Human Torch statue. Wow, oh, wow, on M25. Whew. Mercy me, is that excellent.
Yep. It's a great base.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Pick of the litter is on page 34.
Okay.
You get your very own Clark Griswold talking plush from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Those skinny limbs and that look on his face. He looks like he's like a Rankin Bass Animagic puppet.
Yeah. That's a good call out there. Yep.
Just pose him and use your smartphone to film your own holiday adventures.
Fantastic. Is something like that going to be featured at the barn? That looks like that's right up your alley.
It shows up in any catalog we get, and if I have anything to say about it, yes, absolutely he will.
Excellent.
It retails for only $25. It's not bad at all.
Not too shabby.
Yep. On a similarly holiday vein, on page 38, we've got a supersized vinyl figurine of Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge from Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Oh, that's a great sculpt. That's really cool.
Yep. Just annoyed look on his face. It's perfect.
Yep.
In Funko's new line of soda figurines, page 45, we've got Nick Offerman as Ron Swanson, and on page 46, we've got Ted Lasso.
Ah, man.
It's a good month for some of the most iconic mustaches in filmland.
For that matter, you just reminded me I have to rewatch the Ted Lasso Christmas special, because that is one of my favorite Christmas episodes that I've seen. It's just so good.
Has season 3 of that come out yet, by the way?
Not yet, no. I think they're still working on it. It may very well be the last season. They've been very coy about that so far, but I think they initially envisioned it as a 3-season arc, so it may only be 3 seasons.
Okay, yep. Gotcha. And I think there was one more thing I had wanted to mention before we call it a night, and that is on page 76. Might as well jump there.
Okie dokie.
From the Loki Marvel streaming series.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Wow.
There you go. Your very own Throg. From that specimen container in which we see him. You can almost hear Chris Hemsworth's terrified voice croaking out of it.
Oh man, I like they even put the T365 on it too, just as a marker. Lovely. Good times. All right, I think that's a bolt shot.
Yep, feels like it to me too.
Fantastic. Oh, Christmas watching also. If you haven't watched the most recent Bob's Burgers, that may be one of their best Christmas episodes yet.
Oh, wow. And they've done some honeys over the years.
They have. Yep.
Yep. Not surprisingly, I haven't been watching too much primetime TV lately.
Completely understand. Yep.
But I'll get to it eventually because, FXX is my friend in that regard. It may take a year, but I'll see it.
Fantastic. Alrighty, so we are officially shot our bolt, and this is an epic-sized previews episode for all you folks out there who are looking for something for this holiday season. And we thank you guys for sticking with us. This was a good joy, and it's nice to see a December previews catalog that was chock full of good stuff. So, excellent all around. All right.
And it's quite an accomplishment for a couple of pretty tired amigos here because
You better believe it.
yes, and Chris makes three. All three. He was just he was going, it wasn't his usual orgasmic. It was more like gosh, I'm tired in every bone of my body, but I'm still here, and it's
not to mention the last two nights I was out. Yesterday I went upstate to go to a Harry Potter forest adventure thing, which was cool, but it was out of the way.
Yes, so
yep.
just getting there and back was probably taxing enough, but then actually having the experience.
Yep, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Alrighty, well, we made it, and thank you guys once again at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak for keeping the lights on for us. We really do appreciate it. You pay our electric bill, and that is terrific. And by electric bill, I mean at the studio, not our personal electric bills. So patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. Thank you very much for that.
And you'll be getting, if all goes according to plan, you'll be getting another chance to hear us making use of that studio facility sometime around the end of the year.
Yes, indeed. Yep. I will be elsewhere, so I will try to Skype in, or Zoom in. Skype in. What's Skype? Zoom in when you guys do it. But I'm looking forward to you folks being there, and hopefully I'll be there sometime in the new year.
Yep. Let's certainly try to make that happen.
Most definitely. Alrighty, so the role of Shane shall be played by Murd this fateful evening. So, Murd, the floor is yours.
I'm ready. If you'd like to send us an email, our address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you'd like to send a voicemail, let us hear your thoughts vocally. You can call into 267-702-6642. You can go to Facebook and participate in our Comic Geek Speak super group, 3 years and going strong. And you can give us a like there, and you can participate in various discussions about our different episodes of the podcast, or just start discussion threads about different geeky topics with your CGS listeners and friends. You can go to the comicforums.vanillacommunity.com, the original CGS online forum presence, and do basically the same thing there. You can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @ComicGeekSpeak. You can visit youtube.com/ComicGeekSpeak for video versions of all of our latest and greatest episodes, including this one. It's a great help for trolling through that, trolling and scrolling through the previews catalog with us. I definitely recommend that version of this experience. We give special thanks, as always, to those of you who have donated monetarily to the show in the past. We truly appreciate it, and the show would not be what it is today without your support. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
And through sheer force of will, they managed to make a previews episode last 8 days.
Good holiday reference there at the end, Ian.
Thank you muchly.